in my ass.
I just banged your wife?
Name of this garbage show again that I'm on.
Total non-stop impact.
My name's John, capital letter E, period, Bravo, and you're listening to the Total Non-Stop Impact Podcast.
This is the jaw-jacking Tuesday Night Impactin'. His mother called him son because he shines like one. Mocha Skin Manimal, Rohit Raju, and you are watching Total Non-Stop Impact.
This is Taya La Güera Loca, and you are listening to Total Non-Stop Impact.
The Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, and you're listening to Total Non-Stop Impact.
We are the Rascals, and you are listening to Total
Non-Stop
Impact Podcast, baby.
Woo! And what you're really listening to is Total Non-Stop Impact. Don't you dare miss a lesson. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
What's up, Impact Wrestling? Let's make some noise!
Sitting here, you guys got a 15-minute intro of putting yourselves over while I'm sitting here and watching Jaybone and Kaylon and you 50. I never saw a 15-minute intro of three guys putting themselves over.
This is the good stuff.
Welcome back, everybody, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans, featured right goddamn here on the TNI network. This is Trent, along with my co-host today, Jaybone, Bill, and our guest friend of the show, Uncle Marq himself. You're the uncle of the show, right, Mark? You are the official uncle of TNI. So Uncle Marq is here too.
All right, happy to be here.
What's going on, gentlemen? What is new? What's happening? How is your Friday Junior, like a friend of mine likes to call it? What's going on?
Throwback Thursday. This is the throwback show. I don't think I said that. Throwback show, episode number 46, NWA-TNA Asylum Days. An exciting one. We're going to talk about. This was weird. This was such a weird one. It was like Jaybone texted me and he's like, "It's weird and it's not bad, but it's fucking weird." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right, exactly." So I'm looking forward to talking about this one. It's gonna have interesting takes from all of us, I feel. So looking forward to that. But just want to check how you guys are doing. Bill, let me start with Bill because it was Bill on the road for like 9 days straight, it seemed like. So Bill, you're home now. The backdrop is there. We can see your home.
Yes. Yeah, we're back in the studio.
How was
it's good to be home. It's good to be home.
I bet. Yes. Total days away. Now you were gone from when to when? What's the final count? Shows, days away, hours on the road. Summarize it for us. So we know.
Well, because they were pretty close together. This one was like a week ago today. I had left, but I came back early Wednesday morning. So I've been back for about 36 hours now, 35, 36 hours. So, but I was still going good. Put in the full day of work yesterday. I thought I might crash after work and then just sleep, but I didn't. I actually went to the movies. And then I went to sleep about 11 last night. So sadly, I missed Smash This podcast because I had to go to sleep. But other than that, I did everything.
There you go.
But so yeah, a lot of time on the road. Because before that is when I saw you. Not really. It was the previous weekend. So I kind of went from a Tuesday through Saturday, did a local show on Sunday, and then started back again Thursday through early morning Wednesday. So overall, it was 13 shows the last time around. The first time around, I think it was like, 6 technically.
Holy shit.
So yeah, I got my fill in.
Now, are you going to this ICW show again this weekend?
Yes.
Back on the road?
Yeah, well, that's local. I consider that a local show. Jersey,
it is a local show.
Local. Yeah. Not much. I'll be able to go and come back home. So that's what we call an easy trans in the business.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I gotta give it to hats off, Phil. That's unreal.
Well,
Mark, how many?
You say hats?
We got merch.
Uh-oh.
Look at this. What do we got?
What do we got?
Old school TNA hat.
Oh, nice.
A white one, huh? Wow.
No, well, this is the tan. It's just the lighting right there.
It's a gold logo.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is gorgeous.
From what I
That
understand,
is gorgeous. Looks like Moose's belt.
that's true. It does.
Mm.
From what I understand, highspots.com bought a lot of the old, what's that? TNA wrestling.com. That's how you know it's an old hat. High Spots apparently bought a lot of that old inventory.
I heard that.
Right? And whatever was left, I think High Spots got a good batch of it. So if you're ever looking for old classic TNA merch, best to call the High Spots office because they got stuff in the vault. And that includes all the companies. They're big on like buying the closeouts and the old stuff. But if you're looking particular for TNA, they got stuff. So like I'm talking those Affliction shirts, Mark. That's right up your alley. All those shitty the Affliction shirts. Get those if you ever want them. That's the place to be. So
there's that TNA gut check
There
one.
it is.
Yeah, I had to show it. Our buddy Josh was shooting that around, but I actually have the gut check already.
Look at that.
Whoa! See, I was
like,
wow, he got that to you quick.
Bill, what's the one item you missed out on and you can't get it back and you wish?
Well, as we've been talking about these, I love a sex shirt.
I would love the sports
like
entertainment.
these real early NWA-TNA merch.
Yes,
I don't have any of that. So like I'd love the secure, like the NWA logo with the TNA on the back. I'd love one of their security shirts. A lot of this merch it's like the ECW. Like I have my Beulah shirt, but they only made really limited runs of this merch early on. So unless you were really there or one of the few people that ordered it, you really don't have this merch. It's kind of it was done and gone. Unless they did any like kind of reprints with like just like logo TNA shirts. But I don't count those. Like one of the like the stables or some of those superstars back then, I'd love to have some of that merch, but that is something I did miss out on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Kevin Martin's in the house. I want to say what's up, Kevin. I just want to real quick, not to cut that off. Kevin was attracted to coming to this throwback show today because he saw New Jack and Shark Boy, which he just found out was a thing. So start watching because this is one of the best, funniest storylines ever.
Oh, yeah. It's actually a picture off of the classic TNA Candyland game that came out. It was a very limited edition.
Very limited.
So the sports entertainment, I have seen, Bill, those shirts. There's a couple of guys on eBay who sell the NWA logo, the large letter shirts, the sports entertainment extreme shirts, original logo. They go for no less than $100 on eBay.
Crazy.
The only thing I can think of, the only idea I have.
Does that come with a personal visit from Vince Russo?
Yeah, Dixie Carter delivers it. The only thing I can think of is if you probably go like a custom shop, you bring the logo and it's like it's a one and done. You're not going to violate a copyright because it's not in print and you're not selling it. It's the only option I can think of.
I did almost take a risk on. I did see a website that looked very, very shady. Like if you want to figure what like a backdoor, skeezy, wonky website would look like. It looked like very Prodigy, error, internet. And it was like they had this random TNA merch there, like in one of everything.
I did see that too.
I'm like, if I order this, there's like no way I'm getting it. But I'm like, it is a sex shirt. Is it worth? Because it was only like $15. And I'm like, is it worth the risk for $15 to not get it, but maybe get it? They're telling me there's a chance. So I thought about it, but I did not do it yet.
I think for $15, you can't lose. I found it right here. It's $12.
Oh, 12. Yeah, I think it was $12.
Holy shit, this site looks sketchy as fuck.
Well, I mean, I do run T-shirts, so it's a single color print. We could make sex shirts, just saying.
Do you make shirts, Mark? Do you?
I can, yeah. I do. Yeah, it's part. I mean, I do marketing. That's like a small part. Yeah,
well, there we
go. Dabble.
We got to find the original artwork. That's the thing.
Yeah, that can be remade.
B-Dog saying Redbubble might have it because they're one-offs, and who knows? I mean, they're not in print, so we're not really violating much copyright.
Yeah.
Parking lot. I like how Zach Bonifer. Thanks, nice logo, Zach. Nice avatar.
Was that from last night with Jaybone show?
So, well, let's look into it. I'd love to see if we can get that original logo because there's print on the back of it too. So if we want to go full on, we got to go all out, you know. So I think it says like sex, thugs, and rock and roll or something.
Yes. Someone in the crowd during this episode was actually holding up the back of the shirt, and that's what it said. I was like, sex, thugs, and rock and roll. I was like,
I had a chance to buy it. I had a chance to get it years back, and I think I hesitated. I'm like, I can't walk around with a shirt that says sex on it, you know. I was like, what's
I
my
walk
mom
around
gonna
with
say?
a shirt that I just banged your wife, so I guess
I know.
things.
Well, no, 38-year-old me is like, I don't give a fuck. 22-year-old me is living, but you know, my parents' house was like, I don't know if my mom's gonna be
rocking that in high school or in,
This is past
college
backwards.
campus.
That's backwards. At 22, I was like, "What gives a fuck?"
Yeah, what the hell?
I have kids. Like,
What would the scumbag think of this? Oh, we already know.
I'm fucking hardened, man. Life got me. Like, and now I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. Take that, grandma, in the checkout line at the grocery stores. Yeah, it says sex.
Walking through the grocery store saying penis as loud as I feel like.
I've seen that penis.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
No bites on the show. You gotta have my impressions of the bites.
We gotta get throwback bite. I think it's.
I actually put a note in here for at least one throwback bite when I heard it. I'm like, that's got to be a bite.
Well, I say we start marking them down because we're gonna need throwback bites for the throwback, and I want to get the throwback show its own intro too. I think it's time we give throwback its own classic intro where like the old TNA music starts and it explodes into something else.
Oh, nice.
So
20-minute intro.
20. We'll go 16 just to exceed the other one.
17 and a half max.
17 and a half. You got it.
Oh, wait. For Mike Sanders, we'll go with 10.
Big 10.
What?
A 2-minute intro, as Goldie would say.
Oh,
that hard 10. That hard 10.
The hard 10.
For that.
The Russo actually did mention Mike Sanders recently on his on the podcast this week, and he still stays in touch with him. You know, he's still out there running one of the most successful party bus companies in Atlanta.
We're getting on the Sanders party bus, man.
I'm saying when Impact goes back to the Coca-Cola Roxy, I think we should do a meetup and say, hey, whoever's going, we're all going on the party bus, and Mike Sanders is coming with us to Impact.
Oh, he's got to be. He's got to be the MC. He's got to wear like a little captain's hat.
Oh, it's gonna be fantastic. But cool, man. Let's jump into it. Episode 46. Everybody else having a good week, though, guys in the chat. Thank you guys for joining. How's everybody doing? I want to point one quick thing out while you guys are giving me your answers. Monty Brown surfaced this week for a video for his old buddy Lance Archer, who was Lance Hoyt, who was also Dallas and TNA. They go back to those days. Now he's not signed with AEW or anything, but I got to say it was really cool to see Monty Brown cut a promo in 2020 because he still fucking has it. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Mark, but when he did the forehead wipe on the microphone, I popped like it was 2003 again.
Yeah.
Super cool. I think this is a really good sign to get him back at Impact for an appearance. I think this is truly a great sign. If he's like okay with appearing again and like, yeah, cool, let's put myself back out there. Why not? Like obviously it's received extremely well. So
yeah,
there's a really good chance. Yeah, I think we could see the man. We could see the man back at some point. Jay, get on the phone. Get on the horn.
Actually, friend of the show, Rohit, has to get on the phone.
Yeah,
he's got connections.
He's got they live in the same town. They work out at the gym together, and I don't know about during COVID time, but he personally told me, he's like, I see him in town, and he's jacked out of his mind, which you could still see. And now he hasn't wrestled in 10 years, I want to say, and the guy's still jacked to the gill. So he could jump in tomorrow and just dominate. So
hey,
hopefully.
If friend of the show Kevin Martin is still watching, I'm pretty sure Kevin Martin could start dialing some numbers right now and just start working on it.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that, and I don't know if anybody in the chat, and I'd encourage you guys too if you guys are already doing it. Garrett Kidney on Twitter. He is Impact social media guy, and Garrett shares a lot of TNA and Impact clips, like classic stuff, like really like that's outside of like the structured posting stuff that they do. You know, he shares stuff that he loves, fan type stuff. I would truly recommend like follow him, and then man, just the Monty Brown stuff. Like he posts a lot of it. Retweet it, tag the management, say hey, whatever you got to do, put that out there. So it's one of those things where like the fact that he resurfaced and we're watching Throwback, and it's like man, it is very intriguing to see him back out there. That's just that he still looks great.
Yeah,
so,
let's not forget that Moose was really pushing
big
for
time.
a Monty Brown match and No Place Like Home.
How great would it be though? That's what I'm thinking. Like, think
There
about
you go,
Monty
Zach.
Brown.
I like the quick change.
What do we got? Oh
Me
man,
too.
nice, Zach. Good call on that. On that logo. I love that. Good man. But think about a Moose and Monty Brown program. I mean, I'm salivating thinking about this. It's pretty awesome if you think about it. It's literally the old versus the new in that sense.
Nah, it'd be great. It'd be great. It really would. Like it would just, and it would put this whole storyline Moose has that he's had for a while now. This TNA Legends storyline. It would really put it to Trent. I hate to do it, but I got to. It's a throwback. It would put this exclamation point on it.
Period.
Very, very accepted. I will not give you shit for that at all. That's perfect, actually. That was a perfect tie-in. Very nice. No, listen, hey, if we could, I'd love it. So good first step, kind of ties in the throwback. But let's jump in, boys. Let's get into the throwback. This is NWA-TNA number 46. It took place on May 21st, 2003. Now, I was on Dave's couch watching this on a Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. As I like to ask, and I'm going to start with Jaybone because he usually has the most tumultuous story of them all. Jaybone, who was breaking your heart? What trouble were you in? What bottle were you peeking down the hole of? Who kicked you out? Where were you at this point? What liquor store were you robbing? What was going on with you at this point in your life? May 21st, 03.
That's funny. You mentioned robbing liquor stores last. I was actually going to say I was like, I was robbing a bank,
What's going on with you, Jaybone? May 21st, 03. At this point, I want you to start making stuff up if you can't remember, and just make it crazier every week. Just give me something to go off of.
I went skinny dipping in Lake Michigan.
I'll take it. I don't want to. You know what? You know what, Bill? I know we don't do the sound of the bites too much on this show, but there is one that absolutely, because of what he just said, has to be played. And actually, there's two of them we can play there. I mean, if he said he's
two.
No, this one we could definitely play.
I have seen that penis.
that one for sure. And there was another one, and I'm having trouble finding it. But well, no, there's even another one. That one works too. Let's see what I can find here. There's got to be at least one more. Hang on.
Well, there is this one.
Yeah. Extra virgin olive oil.
Or there is this one.
Oh, very nice. Okay. All right. Little too much information for me, but that's okay.
Perfect.
There you go. There you go. Now we rounded it out.
I like sound bites on the throwback.
Yeah, we'll start throwing them in every now and then.
It works.
All right, Bill. May 21st, 03. Where were you at? What show were you at? Who were you with? What's going
May
on?
20th. You know what? It wouldn't have been on a Wednesday. Not many shows other than TNA at this time going on Wednesday nights back then.
Yeah.
But maybe that following weekend. That could have been a Ring of Honor time period.
03, yeah. You're about 1 year into Ring of Honor right here. Exactly.
Yeah,
1
so
year.
that's kind of where they moved out of Murphy's.
Yeah,
their original one. So there's a good chance that's when I started attending the shows. So I could be there that weekend. But doing right now, probably on a Wednesday at this time, you're looking at May of 03. So that's probably finishing up school right there. That's right near. That's probably near the old graduation time frame. So
look at that.
So that's probably. So it was probably having some fun. Maybe enjoying myself a little bit during these couple weeks. So I may not have been paying too much attention to wrestling, honestly.
Oh, okay, listen, hey, I'm not here to point any fingers. Mark, I don't get to ask Mark this question enough. I mean, Mark, I don't know what the hell Mark was doing at this time, but I don't know where you were.
I know exactly where I was.
Oh,
I know exactly
me.
where I was.
Tell us.
So my poor wife was forced into watching this with me at the time because, as I mentioned before on an episode a while ago, I had the cloned card for the satellite back in the day. I invested in that when Raven showed up. And so at this point, I had been watching as a regular watcher weekly. So I was living in an apartment off of Westheimer and the Beltway in Houston, Texas, sitting on my couch watching this program with my poor wife.
Very nice.
Who was probably talking about the cage dancers, I would imagine.
Lollipop.
The women never loved the cage dance. That was even back then when things were even a little lighter. They never liked the cage dance. I like the one, the new one that comes in, the brunette one that's there now more often. She ended up never wrestling, but she was my favorite one out of all of them. But man, look at this one. Millard Harris. I was drunk, talking shit, chasing Chael, 2003 around this episode. Beautiful. I like that, Millard. Very nice. That's
him and Jaybone were hanging out.
Yeah, no shit, Jaybone.
Rallies.
03, man. 17 years ago. My God.
Rallies would have been like 91.
91. Jesus, that was way before that. That's when Sergeant Slaughter was turning on America and Jaybone was turning on Law. You know, that was going on.
I was chasing tail down high school hallways. I mean, that's what the age I was back then. That's when that was.
It was the mullet bone back then. It was this
Jenny Christmas.
It was a mullet bone.
Oh yeah. Full head of hair. Full set of cojones.
Piss and vinegar. Beautiful.
P&V, young and dumb and full. All right, next one.
All right, let's jump into this. We're at the Asylum, Nashville, Tennessee. We open up. Did you guys catch this? There was a on the description on Impact Plus. I don't know if, Mark, you see this? And actually, for this episode in particular, said mature content warning. I don't know if anybody saw this. No. The first time I've seen it in the description on Impact Plus.
Really? Didn't say it during some of those infamous episodes we covered?
No, and the first time I missed it.
I do the description like every week. It's there every time.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I had to scroll down. That caught me interesting that these are marked like TVMA basically, which I thought is interesting. That's funny though. We get a opening, guys.
I was going to say it depends on how much ass jiggling in the cages there is.
True.
There was a copious amount.
A lot of this one, which I'm sure your wife loved, Mark.
I'm gonna I'll rewatch it and let you know how many minutes of screen time.
We'll allow it.
the opening, guys, very Star Wars like opening here.
Oh yes, it was very Star Wars.
The crawl was very cool.
The crawl was going on, narrated by Mike Tenay.
Who are these TNA officials?
Yeah, the officials. Who are at this point? We've changed officials quite a bit. I don't know who the officials are at this point.
Mortimer Plumtree at this point.
Well, we find out Mortimer is still there in capacity, right? We're gonna get to Mortimer, but they discuss all the gang warfare going on, and they mention that there's 2 separate tournaments beginning tonight to restore order into the Asylum, and they kind of flash the groups, like the different gangs and stuff coming up.
This had me worried to begin.
Yes. Now let me ask you guys a question right off the bat. My thing was, why do both of them in one night? Why start 2 tournaments in one show? Like, keep some other content for 2 weeks out. It was a little weird, you know. I mean, because if you think about it, the cut-ins with Don and Mike, there was a lot of shit for them to
I rally off. Don, he deserves a medal for what he had to do.
He was exhausted on this episode. You could tell.
I was exhausted to listen to him.
Yeah, they were both very tired.
Yeah, it made for chaos. Like my notes at the beginning of the hard 10 match is like weapons, scratch out points. Wait, what the fuck? Table match, hard 10. What the fuck is going on? Those were my notes for this episode.
A lot.
The whole thing.
I wonder though. My question, and if any guys in the chat want to chime in on this too. Why do 2 in one night? I mean, I just don't get what the rush was. You're taping, you're fine. Was it maybe you couldn't get certain guys back if you were going to eliminate certain people? I don't know. I mean, what could be the reason for 2 tournaments? That's one tournament's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like 2 in one night.
Well, and with rules that are completely bonkers too.
Oh my God, the hard 10 rules.
Oh my God.
We'll talk when we get to that. Hard 10. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It made King of the Mountain look like just a regular old pinfall.
True. Very true. Opening. I know Mark loved this. Raven sitting on the truck.
This is so good. Best line ever.
This was fantastic.
2 good ones, but the one might be an all-timer.
Oh,
actually,
God.
Mark is the biggest Raven fan I know. I'm gonna let him rally the lineup. So Raven's on top of the truck, microphone in hand, and he's talking. Go ahead, Mark. He delivers a line. He's basically addressing Jeff Jarrett and the denial of his destiny at this point. But there's a very famous line said in this, Mark.
And the line is, no one jerks off in Nashville without Jeff Jarrett owning part of his fist.
Unbelievable.
Put it on a shirt.
Put that on a shirt.
Dude,
Guys,
Raven is the best fucking goat. God, Raven is so good.
That line is truly one of the greatest metaphors I have ever heard in wrestling.
Dude. And that's a fucking shoot.
Unbelievable. Pesh in the house, man. Hey, your buddy, your road warrior partner right there.
Oh, wrong show. Oh no, they were on this show. We saw them we saw them not long ago.
That's right. God damn that line. And then what happens is he gets attacked from behind. He gets pulled down. We don't see him. You hear like all that going on, and then you hear Jarrett's voice. And he goes, "Hey Raven, I thought you'd come looking for me, so I thought I'd come pay you a visit."
There's another really good line here. There's another good line while he gets pushed down.
What is it?
Mike TNA sounding like shit, sucked down a drain pipe, proclaiming Jeff Jarrett is NWA.
That's right. That's right. He does. He dogs TNA here. That's great. Say it one more time, but one more time for the people in the back.
All right. Mike TNA sounding like shit, sucked down a drain pipe, proclaiming Jeff Jarrett is NWA.
That's great. I forgot. I didn't write that one down because I got so thrown off by the attack.
Oh, the first one, I had to rewatch this one like 3 times because after that first line, I just lost it. And then I'm like, what do you say? Shit sucked down today? What?
Well, it was so weird because you didn't see Jeff Jarrett, but you heard Jeff Jarrett. My thinking
He wasn't there.
That's the thing. My thought was, oh, okay, so Jeff's in the truck, grabbed a mic and sent someone out after him. So I'm like, so who's attacking Raven? That was my thought. And because then I'm like, oh, Jeff will show up later, and because then Raven keeps calling him out throughout the whole damn show, like, I'm gonna keep taking out people, collateral damage, and this guy and that guy, and we never saw Jeff. So I'm like, well, okay, so was it Jeff?
Thinking back on it, they kind of did give it away that he wasn't there because they kind of give you a plot hole because TNA mentions on commentary that Jarrett's in Australia defending the title against Sting.
Oh, yeah.
So they kind of did. Now that I think about it, they kind of gave that away that it's like, who the hell attacked him? Because
and there's other stuff later that we'll talk about that's like connected to other episodes, but doesn't actually exist in a timeline. It's weird. So yeah, go ahead.
David says the Flying Elvis has attacked him. Put it possibly. So that was good. Great opening. All right, we get a X Division kind of a showcase that I have notes on this, and I want to kick it to you guys after. I'm going to start.
Your favorite wrestler.
Yeah, well, first off, fuck Jason Cross. Fuck Jason Cross. I am never going to get on board with this guy. Okay, but I'm going to tell you right now. But
that's not what you were saying 40 episodes ago, Trent.
This guy's got potential. Let me rattle a few notes here. Then I'm going to start with Mark, and then go to Bill, and then go to Jaybone. I want thoughts on this. So let me set up the match. Here we got Jason Cross taking on CM Punk, who's returning, versus Kid Romeo versus Paul London. 2 notes right off the bat. There was like a New Jack visual subliminal message.
Yeah.
Did you guys? I mean, I don't know if it's an error. I guess it was an error, but there was like this weird apparition of New Jack appears like in the
tape. Yeah.
In the tape. Do you see? I was like, what the fuck was that? But that's one thing. Second thing, Paul London comes out to Kid Cash's old music. I noticed that. like the
Gotta
kind of the
reuse
more
that.
rednecky music. They gotta reuse that one. But the third thing I noticed in the intros was that Kid Romeo is coming out to a song. Now I don't know if you guys in the chat caught this too. He's coming out to a song that you can tell was repurposed just a few years later and remixed for the Main Event Mafia's music. It had that little like that harpsichord that going on.
Little Italian
That was
thing
in
going on.
Yeah, it was like
What are you, some kind of savant? Like wrestling entrance music savant? Jesus, Trent.
No. I'm
crazy.
just like, you can't if you were watch the Main Event Mafia, you can't ever forget that like
I
harpsichord.
know the Main Event Mafia theme, and you're not wrong. It didn't come out, and I didn't put it together there. But if you go over some of the sounds, it's definitely a remix.
It's a remix.
It's a decent remix. Like it's remixed a good amount, but you're right. The same notes are in there.
Now, Truck pointed out what I wanted to say too. This match just felt clunky and slow, and it just like the crowd was not into it at all.
Well, they were for a few minutes. They kind of died off at the end.
Not even
you could tell after this match, the crowd goes nuts the rest of the show.
Oh yeah, like,
they're hot.
Chicks
after
are like
this
ripping
match.
their tops off for Amazing Red. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, well, absolutely. We're gonna get to that, but
I have a lot of notes on some of these ladies in the audience.
Oh,
one
well,
in particular.
Mark, am I wrong? Like these guys, these four just could not get chemistry together. They just didn't have. It wasn't there.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't hate it, I guess. But there wasn't a lot of chemistry there. Maybe it's because some were returning, some hadn't worked together, I would guess, ever before. I don't know where all these guys were right before this, but yeah, it certainly didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be. When I saw these guys coming out, I was like, man, this match is going to be insane. And it was just okay. You know, I couldn't put a finger on it though.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Go ahead, Jay. You want to say something?
So this is how I know exactly what you're saying. Like the crowd was off. And this is the start of a brand new taping. I actually went back to the last episode to make sure I was right on this. It was brand new taping. So the crowd should be just ridiculous, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, so some of these guys have not been in the company wrestling for several months. Okay. And you got to think from several months ago, from 3 months to 6 months ago, whenever these guys appeared last, like CM Punk, apparently Kid Romeo appeared once before. I don't remember it.
Episode 2, I think they said.
Was he in a tag match? They said.
Yeah, in episode 2, I think is what.
Yeah, it must have been a one-off. Yeah. So he hasn't been in the company for almost a year. We're on week 40 something.
46, yeah.
Right, and so I'm like, okay, so you got to figure the crowd has changed a lot within the last year. Some people have fallen off. They've gained a lot of new. So you got to think for this crowd watching here, this is post Jarrett versus Raven, which was hotter than shit. They've seen these guys now for the first time. So they got nothing else to go off of. It's not like Red coming down to the ring and the women are like throwing their panties in the ring. You know, this is a lot different. It's like, probably a good chunk of this crowd, Southern crowd, is like CM who, Paul who, Kid who.
True.
You know, they know Jason Cross. Jason Cross has been fairly regular.
He probably got the loudest pop, if anything.
Yeah, and they feel like Trent does, and it could help matters. But that's a very good hypothesis, Jaybone. But I think Millard may have nailed it here. Robbie E was on the pre-show. So that killed the crowd.
Just killed everybody. Boo.
I'm surprised they ever came back after that.
Poor Robbie.
I'm sleeping right now.
Jesus.
Robbie keeps popping up in conversation today. This is the second time his name has come up in a conversation.
That's true.
Today.
Yeah, Mark and I talked about him earlier today too. It's just funny.
Echoes.
That was his indie name and like Ring of Honor name before he changed it in TNA later.
Rob Echoes. Yeah, that was him. Robert Strauss now, I believe. Yeah. So, but this
he goes back that far.
Oh, he's been at it. This is around his rookie time, I would say. He's like new right
he's
about
probably maybe a year into it right now.
That's a great factoid, though, Miller. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
Did not know that. Wow.
it's an interesting. Yeah, he's been around a bit, man, because he shows up in TNA proper. I want to say, he's in like maybe what 07 is when he starts coming in 08, you know, and then he has a decent run. Yeah, he gets a tag belt and the TV
That's all
title.
Jesse's doing.
It's all Jesse's doing. Jesse's great. A lot of people petitioning for
OVW national champion Jesse Goddard.
A lot of people pushing for him to come back, man. A lot of people. It would be nice. Nurse is in the house. Hello, darling.
Hello, Nurse.
She's there.
Hello, Nurse.
There, we need that song.
Yes.
Hakeem put in right here. 7 years later, Robbie debuts at BFG 2010, attacking Jalila. So 7 years later, he comes in. That's interesting. Very interesting. Rex is saying 2009, so I don't know who's right or who's wrong here. But anyway.
It's close.
What's the difference in a year?
Yes. Now, I noticed the crowd a little dead, but they pop when it's over. My notes literally said, are they popping because it's finally over? It's like, they were on their hands, man. But let me just give you
concessions.
Yeah.
Now they're popping for that 6 shooting star that London does.
Like, yeah, London is cool, man. Talk about a guy who like just didn't care enough, didn't love the business enough to like commit to it. But
He had all the talents.
Oh yeah, he just wanted. I mean, he's acting now, but the guy can lace it up tomorrow and just be right back where he was. Here's my the order of elimination is for anybody, just for reference. So the winner is the number one contender is what we're going for.
Yes.
We got Cross pins Punk, Romeo pins Cross. London then pins Romeo and gets with the London calling and gets the win. So London, number one contender for the title. So we're setting him up as the new next guy is what we're doing with here. So, and look, I had no problem with it. I think Paul London was fantastic. He's a great talent. We lose him early though. You know, he's gone like a year, maybe not even a year later.
Yeah, he and Kendrick were one of the hottest tag teams in the E back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Spanky.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
I wish we could have developed London in TNA. I feel like, man, he could have, and I know he had a good run. So I'm not going to say he didn't have a good run up there, but I don't think he was. I think it was truly for the money because from things I've heard, it was truly for the money for him up there. But
I mean, he was tag champs for a year with Kendrick. I mean,
yeah.
But then after that, I don't remember anything that you did.
Velocity.
Yeah, pretty much just regulate it to small stuff and whatever. But yeah, but no, he was cool. But we'll see where this goes as they begin to build him now after this no more contendership.
So we'll sets up a great future match there, Sabin and London.
Oh my god, that's pretty cool. Actually, that's pretty cool. I have to remind myself that like Sabin at this point is already an X Division champion, a member of Sports Entertainment Extreme, and like thrust into like the guy's been there like 5 weeks at this point. It's crazy to think, and again, crazy to think that today he is one half the tag team champions. It's nuts when you really put that into perspective. Fucking crazy to think that. All right, so we get the first tournament. So we get the tournaments announced by Don West. We go, by the way, Don West, red on red. That's what Dave wanted me to start pointing out. Don West's fashion. He's red on red this week. So
sharp.
See, very sharp. Again, they seem beat. I don't know, man. Don and Mike, and like you said, Jay, this was a fresh taping, but they just seemed like, man, they were just beat to fucking just tired. I don't know what it was.
There was a couple of times where Don West was channeling his inner Jaybone. And I jokingly say that because if anybody listened to the intro of last night's AEW review on my channel, I introed it as this. So yeah, my night was a little off.
Oh, is that what Zach was referring to? That you were doing this?
Yes. It's like, what show am I on? Fuck. Apparently last night, I don't even know.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
So
check those lollipops.
Yeah, I'm telling you, check those lollipops.
Yeah, I was drinking something. Dear Lord, it was Mountain Dew Zero for those trying to get me a sponsorship. God bless.
I am. I have to comment on things. There's a lot of love for the nurse going on. She's like, you're not even reacting to this. I see it, nurse. A lot of love for you in this chat. Look at this. Somebody was saying that here. Look at this. The show got 1,000% better with the wonderful nurse Nicole making an appearance. My goodness, it's true.
in the chat.
In the chat. I invited her to come on. I said, "Why don't you pop on video and say hello, everybody?" But she was not feeling up to it. I said, "All right, just pop in the chat, say hello to your adoring legions of fans."
Nurse equals ratings.
Nurses ratings, man. The nurses ratings. All right, so here's the tournament now. So we announced the Asylum Alliance match and the tournament, where 7 of the 8 teams have been picked already. So it's an 8-team tournament. The 8th team will be decided by a match between AJ and D-Lo taking on AMW. The idea behind this is that they're handpicking members of different factions and teaming them up. And then the winner of this mix-up, mish-mash tag team tournament gets a title shot. So it could be a member of the New Church and Sports Entertainment Extreme can end up as tag team champions, because of this Asylum Alliance. And the concept was, I mean, this is wacky as shit, but the concept was you're trying to bring harmony amongst all the gang warfare. Right? That's kind of how they sold it, right? Like they were like, there's so much gang warfare going on. We need to settle this down. The only way to settle it down is if members from opposite teams start teaming up. And I'm like, okay, but it was wacky as shit.
Because that's gonna help.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, okay, so on one hand, I'm a big fan of wacky shit where it's like so-and-so and so-and-so ended up as tag team champions. I hate that guy, but we're champions. How do we coexist? Always a fun little thing to do. But this route to it is the long route to that. So, yeah, interesting. But
was this a WCW gimmick at one point? Didn't they have a show?
I think yes.
Was it Lethal
Lottery?
Lethal Lottery. There it is.
Lethal Lottery.
Something like that. Yeah.
Same idea. It was like the same. Like you don't know who you can end up with, and it's always the face ended up with the heel. It's like always. It's never that 2 heels wound up getting pulled out. But so it is something like that, right? It conceptually it has that all over it. But again, we go from that to the Hard 10 tournament, which we talk about.
Just let me quickly interject. For those of us who watched this episode from the treehouse, my notes just devolved into madness and I gave up at some point. So I'm glad you took really good notes, because I'm watching this and I was like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is going on?
I think Vince Russo was in the treehouse coming up with these ideas.
Man, no, this Hard 10. I can't wait to hear you. I'm sorry.
We're getting to it.
I can't wait to hear you describe the Hard 10.
We got a few more seconds before the Hard 10 rules get placed on it, so we'll get to it.
Yeah, they're just teasing it right now. Today's we'll tell you them later.
Yeah.
Because right now they have no clue what they're talking about.
Today doesn't know.
I don't think he knows either, but it still blows my mind.
I think he's waiting for a note to be put in front of him on what the rules are.
I think so. You could tell the two
Keith
of them.
Mitchell in the back is running it down to him as we speak.
They were both trying to find a way to gather their thoughts. They looked fucking exhausted. I'm telling you. We got Goldilocks with Sonny Siaki. This is not okay for anybody who is, and I know Beat Dog listens to the Russo show. Vince will always refer to Glenn as Glenn Gilbernetti as a joke. This is the first time Siaki actually does call him. He goes, yeah, it's going to be me. He mentions Glenn Gilbernetti. I go, that's where it came from. So I don't know if it was an inside joke, a rib they had, but first time I ever heard anybody mention Gilbernetti, not on the Russo podcast. But he claims he's I'm in charge of SCX. He tries to show he's in charge by addressing everybody, and no one gives a shit. They're all like, whatever. But he asks, who's going to volunteer to get Raven? Then he just nominates David Young. And David Young's like, no, I'm busy. I got stuff to do. I got my match. And, I was going to hang out with Desire. And he's like, what do you mean, Desire? What's going on? He's like, fine, forget it. I'll just go do it myself. So he storms off. I keep saying this every week, Jay. Since Jay and I started watching TNA at the beginning, I was like, I was a Sonny Siaki mark. I was like, he's the one guy who got away, who left early. I rewatched these now, and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? I am so unsold on a guy that I was such a big fan of. And I'm like, his delivery's terrible. And it's just not there. It's just not there. I am not feeling the Siaki love anymore.
Well, he's trying to put himself over. He got passed by Gilbernetti. And, he's trying to show his authority in the locker room. No one's even looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this is all factored into that. None of it's helping, you know? So you're sold on this fact that, oh, nobody gives a shit about him, apparently.
Yeah, he's trying. Like I'm not gonna say he's not trying.
Oh yeah, I still think he's good. It's just he's not always on. I mean, he's always on camera, but he's not always on camera. You know, he's not always focused on.
I guess he's not as great as I remember him being, put it that way.
Well, yeah, he's not. He wasn't that guy that you look at him that was like a future star, face of the company. Which I think he had those early ideas that he could be.
Yeah.
In this role as like comic relief in this episode, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him in this. Goofy locks, Clockwork Orange, House of Pancakes.
Yeah.
These are funny lines.
I popped for that.
I'm gonna say that was
good. Hilarious.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna give it. No, you're right. I'm not trying to shed on Sonny Siaki. I think you absolutely hit on the head, Bill. That I at one point was like he could be the guy, but I'm like maybe he's not the guy.
Could he have been The Rock? That's what some people thought, because they were kind of almost making him look like he could be The Rock, but he wasn't that. And then they're like, and he's just a big asshole.
He's a big asshole. Every time I hear the asshole or any combination of it, I always think back. You guys, this is totally a sidebar. There was an episode of TNA like 2011 where like it was Anderson facing off with Hogan, and he was like Anderson's just mouthing a bunch of shit, and like you see a very frustrated Hogan just go, you really are an asshole. Like it just was. It is such a great soundbite, and that if I swear, can somebody please find me that soundbite? It's one of my favorite TNA moments. Or you really are an asshole. Like you're just such like a frustrated dad. So I don't know why I just thought of that. Maybe the asshole thing. But anyway, all right. So let's go. So the other plan, the crush that David Young's got on Desire here is definitely
after that segment. I think everyone's got the crush on Desire after that one.
Absolutely,
she brought it. She brought it for this episode.
She's awesome. She is another one who's so widely forgotten in the history of TNA. She's not there too much longer, I believe. After this,
with Desire.
And he did it on this show too.
He did.
Jeremy Borash. He did it again. I think I can't wait to meet him and ask him this someday. Like, what was the deal with that? What was the lusty intro for Desire? I'm like, wow, I don't know. Anybody ever meet Borash? Have you guys ever met Borash? Not friendly at all in person. He is not a friendly guy at all. Really, he's not like. As social as you think Jeremy Borash would be, he is absolutely not that social in person. And I can maybe like he's got a bunch of marks.
Yeah, he kind of keeps to himself. He keeps to himself. I'll say that. And there's other people that are like that. And it's funny that it's a lot of times it is like the broadcasters and the announcers that are kind of the most. I don't know if you want to say like standoffish, but not really for the position they're in. You would think they'd be a little more social.
True.
Not that all of them are, but a lot of them aren't. They look at it as like they're there. That's their job, just to call something.
Yeah,
and they're out. Like show's over. See you later.
See you later. Yeah, you would think they'd be the more social ones, but they really aren't.
But if you're the loudest fan tonight, you're getting a backstage pass.
Exactly. Mark, I don't know if you knew about this. And Jay, they used to do these things at TNA house shows where like Borash would be like the MC and just rile up everybody. And he's like, whoever's the loudest, I'm coming around and giving you a backstage pass. And he'd like literally come out and like slap a backstage pass on people or hand it to them, or usually kids, more than anything. But it's like, yeah, you're thinking he's the friendliest dude ever. He's just going around, walking around, you know what I mean? But he wasn't. you get him like outside of the show.
Whoa.
What's going on in the chat? You spent $15 in sex, but what are you talking about? No, the t-shirt. We're talking about a t-shirt. This is the problem.
And Trent said it would only be $12.50.
Yeah, it's actually $12.50.
And then I volunteered to make it.
And then but Mark was this out of context. This sounds crazy, but
it really does, because now it sounds like homemade sex.
I really got to.
Is there another time?
I got to have her watch.
If you do that, then Jeff Jarrett, he gets part of the fist.
Jeez, yeah, he gets part of it. Just don't be in Tennessee when this is happening.
No,
I got to show her some of the old Asylum stuff. So I got to show her. I think this will make a lot more sense, Nurse, if you see the Asylum thing. All right, let's move on here. We go to Raven with the Gathering. He's pissed the fuck off at him for basically betraying him, going to Sports Entertainment Extreme. And I think he slaps Julio at this point, and then he drags Alexis down, and he gives her a very sexualized "open your mouth." She's on her knees. Yeah, open your mouth. She's like, "What?"
Then it's almost like he gets out of it real quick, though.
He does, because he goes right to the bottle.
It's like, oh, that was too far.
Yeah, but then he goes right to like the bleach bottle, and he's like, he's about to bleach her mouth. I'm going to clear the betrayal out of your soul. This is great shit. Like the whole,
it's very topical.
Very topical. it's just holy shit, though. Like it was intense. Like the way I'm going to clear the betrayal out of your soul. Like God,
it's a hell of a pickup line.
It is great pickup line. I'm sure Jaybone's used it a few times on. It definitely didn't work out, but I'm sure you tried, Jay.
Where do you think you got it from?
His Junior Bone. So interesting. So he's pissed at the Gathering. I think, what the hell is Nurse saying in here? Buy a sex shirt and guess you don't need sex. Get the hell out of here. Cut her mic. She doesn't even have a microphone. Cut her mic. She's out of here. All right. We get the match.
It ain't me.
So we get a match. The next one is Triple X. It was booked now. TNA. Now you only see Elix and Daniels come out here, and it's Triple X taking on a combo match of Slash, Red, and Just Incredible. Kind of a weird deal altogether here. Like why? But
I was surprised they came out together. I was almost like they're ready to be a team. They were like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, they're very much lacking logic in this one here. Because this wasn't even this is not even part of the Alliance tournament, right?
No.
That's the thing that gets me. I'm like,
this episode was
we have some guys free tonight. Let's use them.
Well, they said Loki was injured.
Yeah, Loki was injured in England.
Yeah. So the match was already booked. So why not just keep it this way?
Right. But here's the thing. I'm more focused on the other three guys. This was not part of the Alliance tournament. But they randomly team up Slash, Red, and Just Incredible. Like, where does this come from? Like, there was no logic, and like, unless I missed. And if you guys, and anybody in the chat that was, whoever followed along with us here, did they ever allude to? Did TNA ever narrate why these three? Is this like kind of a sidebar to the Alliance tournament? Like, hey, we're gonna do peace and harmony here too. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I think it had to do with that whole concept as well, because it's like, well, maybe they can get along.
Now that you say it, he did mention NWA coming together on a united front. So I guess that's your storyline tie.
Yeah, Team NWA.
I mean, there's something. TNA doing his best, I guess, on commentary to make sense.
Cross the line.
I swear, every week it reminds me how good he is. I guarantee he can sit in the seat today and do the same thing.
It's also the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, okay. I get that makes sense. But man, TNA is so good. Like the way he at least gets you to like kind of swallow the pill on a few things that he even knows are like, this is a tough sell. How am I going to do this? But the fact that he pulls it off is great. So they kept it a 3-on-2, low-key being injured. Pretty much a standard deal until, some good high spots. I mean, I didn't really pick out anything in particular. Mark, did you have anything written down in particular on this one at all? Or anybody?
No, just the part where there was a bunch of dives that were total dive mayhem.
Yeah, it was.
The crowd was loving it though. The crowd was
did much. You had a lot of favorites in this one though. You had a lot of love. Like New Church is a staple. Their hometown. Red's obviously the new baby face. Triple X has got that heel respect, out of people. Justin's, kind of a name. So like nobody really hated him. So everybody was over, but the heroic pin on Skipper, which I like that Red made. So Red gets the pin on Skipper, which sets him up pretty nicely. But the clutch here was Raven just rolls in and DDTs the shit out of Red right here. And then addresses Jeff Jarrett and says, unless you meet me, I will continue to sacrifice innocent victims in the asylum. Awesome. How did that, Jay? Like this is Raven. This is peak Raven right here, man.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And he actually got a couple pops tonight too, which is interesting. I think people were still reeling off of that match with Jarrett, and we're ready, for that transition. And a lot of people were behind Raven, and those fans are still there. So,
it just got me thinking, Hakeem, this could be a great article topic for your next article. The top missed opportunities for world titles in TNA Impact history. Like right off the bat, I go to Raven. Monty Brown's a missed one. Chris Daniels is a missed one. I think there's some that are just like totally missed opportunities. That could be interesting. Hakeem workshop that, because I think I would love to see what you come up with. But pretty, so Raven sets it up what the night's going to be. Okay, now this next segment, I don't even fucking know what. Oh, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
One thing.
Yeah.
I was going to bring this up in the first match and I forgot, but I noticed it more in this one, and I had to rewind to see how much you actually see him throughout the night in the crowd. When they pan back and you see the top row of the bleachers, right before that next section, you're looking at the screen, and way up here in the left part of your screen, there's a bunch of makeup wearing clown looking dudes.
Really? I did not catch that.
You go back and you look at, especially when they zoom in on the ring, and you can see a couple in the background, up in the corner of the screen. Two guys look identical to the ICP guys. And then there's a couple guys next to them with makeup, and I can't tell if they're part of another band. I think one of the guys was maybe someone from Twisted. I don't know those guys real well. No, I'm not gonna crack my usual joke. But
don't you do it, you son of a bitch. Do not talk about that today.
Magnets, how do they work?
His mic is cut.
That's it.
Mark knew what I was talking about. But yeah, no, they're absolutely there. And then I had to look up on YouTube. I'm like, okay, so when do they show up? And it's within the next several weeks, they actually show up, I think, for the first time. So I don't know if they just were plants in the crowd, if they were there as fans, or if they weren't, if maybe they were somebody completely different that just had the makeup on. I don't know. But once you see them, you're like, holy shit, it's ICP.
Most likely it was them, if anything, because they were going. When I remember reading in around that time, they were attending these shows. They were big fans of the product, and they were on the road. They might have crossed paths on the road, and they do show up at some point as well. So I would have not doubted it was ICP and Twisted and just hanging out. Very well could have been. Very well could have been. All right, this next segment is fucking weird, and I don't know what any of this is, but I literally wrote.
They give the prelude that they're talking about Jackass, and they're talking about this reality guerrilla TV stuff that they're trying to do.
Because Don says it, right? Don's I love that kind of stuff.
Jackass, I love that.
So we go to so awkward. We go to Goldilocks on the streets of Nashville, and she's going to a cell phone shop, a singular wireless.
Yes, singular. Yes, singular.
That's a timepiece, right? Singular wireless. And I only knew that. I'm sure you guys saw the logo, the stand logo in the corner. I was like, I had singular before AT&T bought it. But Goldie's there, and she's arguing with a rep in the store over a Nokia 5538. Which is hilarious.
Now, aren't those the phones that were indestructible back in the day? That was the best phone I ever had.
They were like a mini brick. They weren't the brick, but they were a mini brick.
The 1100 is the one that lasts forever.
1100.
Yeah.
But
let me go to the merch closet. Pull mine.
Yeah, pull that out now. So
Bill's got the singular sign.
Yeah, the singular sign. Goldie's in here, and she's arguing with the clerk about a broken phone. This is a 5-minute segment, and I took a photo of this. I'm gonna post it, and I'm gonna tag Goldie, friend of the show, Goldilocks, and I'm gonna say, what was this? What was the plan with this? But she's arguing with this clerk. He's not going to help her. She starts trashing the store, trashing the phone. My notes literally say Goldie being a Karen is what I wrote down. And like, she's like, well, if I buy a phone, it better work. I need a phone to actually make calls, you know? Like, it was very Karen. And it's such a, what the fuck is this?
To be fair, the guy there was not helpful at all.
He was.
My phone doesn't work. Can't help
because he's like, why is this guy filming this woman bitching me out? What's happening right now?
Well, the clerk was a piece of shit. He was a typical, like, just some little asshole. Like, I don't care. Like, ain't my job. You know, he doesn't give a fuck. But, and yeah, Rex, great thing. Her song was playing over. I did write down, it was maybe a vehicle to plug some of her music. Because her song was playing. I love this up Big V Dog. Kieran. Oh, dude, huge pop. For anybody who doesn't know, on the main show, I always point out how every time Kiera Hogan comes out, Tessa used to call her Kiera. So I still find that very funny. So I love this, Kieran.
And there's great. And then Keem said it should be titled Why, but if you remember Mr. Anderson's brief show, it should be called Huh?
Yeah, seriously, man.
Huh?
Brian Fell, I met him drunk at the Squared Circle. I went to the Squared. Who did you meet? I must have missed the previous. Tell us who you met. I'm kind of curious now. But anyway, weird segment. I'm gonna hope it leads to other ones to explain what the hell we're doing here. But if this gets dropped in like 2 weeks, Mark, this is one for the books.
Yeah, I have no notes on it. I wrote down Goldie at singular. What's going on? That's what I wrote. so weird.
Now, what's even more awkward, Trent, is the transition now.
Yes. Okay. So we transitioned basically to Goldie with Mike Sanders, right? That's the next segment.
That's the next segment. So they go right to her again. And she just watched this segment of her. And her first thing is like, I guess that was my time of the month.
Yes. That's right.
Dude, I cringed so hard.
She didn't even know what to say about that segment.
God.
She's like, I guess that was the time of the month.
I mean, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it this. I do like that they actually addressed it, though. Like, she actually reacted to like, you guys just saw that. You know, I know you saw that.
I tell you what, knowing that a lot of it was just on the fly, as she said on this show, it gives you like a whole new perspective on it, though, because crazy shit happens to her nonstop. And to think that she didn't have a script is like, she was saying whatever she needed to say at the time to get by, and she's doing a damn good job.
I'll give her that. I'll absolutely give her that. Quick thing with Sanders, he just talks about he can totally beat up the underfaker, which he's like, I'll beat. Which, as we know, Brian Lee, because I imagine talk about his match with Brian Lee. Brian Lee did play the fake Undertaker in '94. It's a nice little tie-in. He's like, I started off my career beating guys like the Undertaker, and today I'll beat the Underfaker.
He also said he beat Andre, and I'm like,
Andre, yeah,
wow.
I could tell though. Give me your opinion, Jay. Can you tell? I can feel Mike Sanders kind of losing his interest for wrestling at this point. He's not really featured. I think he's doing enough to get by. I know he's not there for too much longer, but you can think, because Mike Sanders is a guy who just grew out of the business, as good as he was. But last couple weeks, could you tell that too? That he's just kind of like, whatever. I'm just in a small role now. I'm not really featured. Winding it down.
When he cut that promo just in the same episode as Jared versus Raven, and they were doing, everyone cutting those little promos, your thoughts on this match. Well, he did some shooty pew pew during that, saying, we're talking about politics and backstage stuff. You get relegated to little bits like this, but no one really cares what you say. So it's like, you could tell stuff was going south for him the last several weeks.
Yeah, I just think he was losing his passion for it. I think he's gone tops maybe a year after this. Like he doesn't make it to Orlando, I don't think. And if you guys in the chat can correct me, I don't think he gets to the Orlando years at all. I think he's gone during this time. So, yeah, I mean, Rex saying he was just there to entertain the boys. You know, I mean, that could have been it. You know, he would ride up with them. He was semi-local to that region. You know, just having fun. He was good friends with Glenn and Russo at the time. So could have been one of those things, man. Like, hey, you're a good addition. Not gonna be a top guy, but get out there, do a couple things.
You're a good hand.
He's a good hand. He's a good mic hand too. Yeah, he was fun. All right, what do we got here? All right, so now, all right, Mark, the hard 10 tournament rules. Woo! Let's talk about these. Let's talk about them. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so now we get the rule breakdown. So it's a hard 10 match with Sanders and Lee. Here's the rules I got here. 1 point for every blow with a strategically placed weapon. I don't know why strategically placed weapon needed to be why that adjective needed to be put in there, but
child holding trash can in front row, strategically
placed, which we find out the audience is given weapons to hold. 5 points for a table break. If you put your opponent through a table. Now, if you end up going through that table that you set up to put your opponent through, your opponent gets 5 points. So the first to 10 wins, but you must win by 2 points. So, okay, it's a little weird. I appreciate the twist of you must win by 2 points because I guarantee that sets up for there it is. Very nice, Jay. Thank you.
Oh,
there it is.
I had to take a picture of this because I'm like, I'm not going to write all this shit down, and I know we're going to talk about it. So there you go.
Nice. It was. So I do like the twist of the win by 2 points because you can tell it's going to set up some interesting, like it's gonna elongate matches as we go on. You know, it's gonna be a thing where like, oh, guys at 9 and shit. You know what's he gonna do? You know, it's 9-9. It's like I keep going. You know, so you're gonna get some that are probably gonna grow out of this pretty nicely. Not 100% guaranteed, but I'm sure you're gonna get some twist from that. So not terrible in that sense, but very interesting. Mark, what did you want to say about this?
That you did. You know, the match was actually better than I thought it was going to be. I'll start out that way. So going into it, I'm looking at these rules, and at first Lee jumps out to like a 5-0 lead, and I'm like, why are they setting this up for a squash? Like, and he's just kind of walking around plucking weapons, and I'm like, this is stupid. But as it went on and the audience got involved, there were a lot of good spots, a lot of good use of the weapons. I don't know. It could have been a lot worse for how bizarre the concept is. Fucking bonkers. Like any way you look at it, but the match itself was solid.
The concept is, you're right. The match was fun. But real quick sidebar, Jay, I'm going to put this to you. What was more convoluted, the Dub Cup or the Hard 10 tournament? Which one had the weirder rule base?
Oh, Dub Cup by far.
Dub Cup, 100%. Go watch our the first 10 episodes, and when the Dub Cup, we even have our own Dub Cup. But shit, when the Dub Cup was coming out, we were trying to make sense of those rules. Like, fuck,
it's out of reach right now. Sorry.
But you know what? Rex makes a really good point here. It was kind of a cluster in the sense that Brian Lee looked like a dumbass by not going for more weapons, especially when he had the big lead.
That's because they overbooked they booked the beginning incorrectly. The big lead didn't. I don't know. It made the match seem awkward at the beginning, and then it turned into a good match at the end. I feel like it should have been more give and take because the beginning was kind of throwaway.
It was because Lee got like 5 points by just weapon shots to right off the bat. And then Sanders has a comeback, but the ending comes with Lee sets up the table, I guess, but he ends up going through it. Sanders wins by 2 because it was like when Sanders was at like, I think he was at 7. It was like 7-9 or some shit, and then that was it. So he ends up going up to 12 and he wins. I forgot what it was. It was something along those lines where it's like Sanders like just squeaked it out with a 2-point win. Again, interesting. First one out of the gate. We'll see how they grow with it. I'm curious now, trying to remember what they did with it. We'll see.
Now that I think about it, that booking at the beginning of the match is probably just to set it up so the audience knows what the system is, right? Every time we watch 1 point. Okay, this makes sense.
It gets me though, Bill, and you saw Brian Lee in ECW right back in the arena. He had a cool look. This was a big dude. It shocks me that he didn't go further than he did. I mean, I know he did make it to WWE. He did the Undertaker thing, but as Brian
prime
Lee,
time now the Killdozer.
Yeah,
he really had like you would think. Now the only thing is you never heard him talk much. So he was that's the issue for a big monster like he is, like very reminiscent of a today Fulton or someone like that on the roster. Just a little bit more, but is that a guy that you couldn't, if you worked with him more, you couldn't get the promos you needed out of him? Because obviously the greatest big man of all time, not the faker, but the taker, didn't talk a lot for most of his career either. So you can do something with a guy that doesn't talk, or you can give him a mouthpiece if that's it. And obviously you have the Sinister Minister, who's fantastic. Right. So that you really couldn't do something. I feel like we talk with Eric Young. If you can't find something for Eric Young to do for 3 years, that's on you. It feels the same way with Brian Lee. If you can't make Brian Lee into a bigger part of your brand, that's really on you, because he has all the tools. Like I know we go over the same thing with Eric Watts. He has a lot of the tools, but I think Brian Lee is more of a problem with that.
I agree.
Miller's going off in chat.
Miller's a maniac today in the comments. Millard Harris, you are killing it today. Look at this comment for the audio listeners. The hard 10 tournament rules where your sister is your mama and your cousin. Like, what the hell is going on?
There was a lot of that in the audience tonight.
That makes as much sense as most of this show, though. Madness.
But I agree with you. Yes, I agree with you, man. Bill, he is a 5-tool player, man. He's got everything you need. The talking, when he got a few moments to talk, but like you said, you know what you need. You got a Sinister Minister. I often wonder in cases like that, is it the guy himself? Is he kind of too busy with whatever day job he's doing, or life gets in the way, maybe family, you don't have the time for it. I don't know.
Well, you look at him, he has the look of the Undertaker. Like, he's a big guy. There's no reason he shouldn't have been a bigger star with TNA. I
mean, because he came off the Disciples of Apocalypse, like he came off the DOA thing, was kind of in limbo for maybe a year, like 2 years maybe, and then it wound up in TNA. So it's like I don't know what he did in that time, but like he came out strong with the new church out of the gate, and it's like, what happened here? I just feel like he had it all, man. And I'm starting to think it was maybe on him more so. Maybe he just didn't have the time, because he kind of disappeared. Like, he is unknown.
Yeah, he is off the radar. We would love to get in contact with Brian Lee.
I would absolutely.
I've always been a big Brian Lee fan, so I think you are too, Trent. And that's why we're big fans of Disciples of the New Church, because a big part of it, obviously Sinister Minister, but Brian Lee is huge with that. But yeah, you're right. He's like a lot of the TNA guys of this era. They're pretty much off the map. A lot of them, like they're like out of the business. A lot of these people,
they're like pre-Twitter era, so you can't find them. A lot of these guys, they have Facebook. Quite a bit of these guys are on Facebook, and but you don't want to be that guy, Mark, I don't want to be the guy. It's like, hey, what's up? You don't know me.
Where's MySpace when you need it?
Yeah,
right.
They're
all. Hey,
will
you come do my podcast? Yeah, I have a wrestling podcast.
But like, you don't want to be that guy and message you on their personal Facebook. But it's like, shit, some of these guys, like, you wish they'd, like, certain guys, certain the old school guys got on with the Twitter era because they know it's like, it's a good way for me to like keep in touch and people can find me. But like, Slash Wolfie D, he's on Twitter, but he never checks it. He checks like once a year. It's like, you almost wanted a landing spot for some of these guys. Like Brian Lee, we want you to know, hey, you're very, very appreciated even today. Like, we just want you to know that. So it sucks we can't tell him. But anyway, maybe one day he'll pop up. But he doesn't do any conventions, nothing, none of those reunion shows. My fingers were crossed at the TNA reunion show, Jay. They were going to do a new church, walkout or something.
Oh, that'd been dope.
Hand the reins to Decay or something, or just be like, or whatever. Like in Rosemary, it's like, Sinister Minister walks with them. Something you could tie in so much fun shit, because it's like Father James Mitchell is still there, so it's like maybe he's their his henchman in the undead realm. Like, is this where you guys have been?
That'd be cool.
Like, it's like,
hey, who knows? Maybe they show up at a certain wedding.
Who knows? But it'd be fucking hilarious if, like, you
Brian Lee is head usher.
He's like, right, I'm saying, it's like, this is where you guys have been. Just imagine him. Exactly. Like, just Sinister Minister going, God, I told you guys to get lost. I didn't mean all the way down here. Something where he just
who booked this?
Something. But anyway, it could be fun. A lot of cool tie-ins could happen.
And they're all standing around awkwardly adjusting their ties. Like,
it's been a while. Where have we been? Like, it's been a long time. So all right, we get to Siaki confronting Raven. And just kind of, they're still questioning who Raven's alliance is, right? Is he Team Extreme? Is he with Sports Entertainment Extreme? I wrote down, again, I don't mean to be dogging a guy I once loved here, but I wrote down horrible delivery by Siaki here. I felt like he was rushing his words. He was just not, I don't know, man. I think, Bill, you hit it on the head today with me and Siaki, but I feel guilty. I feel guilty putting these bad vibes out there about Sonny Siaki. Because he's going to come across this show and be like, he goes, fuck that guy.
Better hope I don't catch you on the street, Trent.
Shit, man.
It's just that you had the highest of hopes for him.
At the time I did. Me and Dave. Too. Dave loved him. We were both big Sonny Siaki marks, man.
I think if you never did this rewatching right now, you would still think he's the biggest missed opportunity in history.
It's true. It really is true.
I just thought it was hilarious that he's nose to nose with Raven, and he hits him with the Clockwork Orange House of Pancakes match. Raven doesn't even flinch, doesn't flare a nostril.
Hilarious.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I'm just like, man, I'm thinking if I'm Raven and he hears him make fun of his creation, he is dead. D-E-D, dead. It's just
Clockwork Orange House of Pancakes. Like,
who knows? Maybe Raven's an IHOP Mark. We don't know.
That or he's corpsing, trying not to laugh. It's because I popped every single time he said that in this episode. I'm like, House of Pancakes.
Hey, that could be a bite. That could be a bite, a throwback bite.
Mark these down. Put these down.
Clockwork House of Pancakes.
We got to get these. We got to put these down. There's some good bites in this episode for sure.
Now, or a little earlier, at the end of the Goldie and Mike Sanders, on the outro there, he says, "Goldie, hey!" And then you hear the whole crowd say, "Hey!"
That's true.
Was that his calling card?
That
I missed this whole time.
Yeah, if you look back at some of the Mike Sanders with some of his first matches, he was like super old school heel, where he would do something and then directly look to the crowd for a reaction. And he kept doing this over and over and over again, but it was more obnoxiously done to the point that he would hit somebody with an elbow, turn around and go, "Hey!" and the whole crowd would go, "Hey!"
All right, so that's what they were doing here again. So he was getting a little over with that.
He hadn't done that in a while. So so the crowd popped for that, and the crowd actually liked him, appreciated him for that, because it was old school, heels over exaggerating stuff just like they did back in the day. So I even popped for that.
Well, I was getting these Katie Forbes vibes.
Me too. Me too.
I knew Bill, you were going to say that.
You know who else used to do that? Bill, you might remember Claudio in the Ring of Honor days.
Yes,
was notorious for he put a hold on and go, "Hey, hey," and then he started healing it up every time he'd do something. The whole crowd, "Hey," and he like, "Shut up." Became a thing. Every move he did was, he'd punch somebody. Hey, hey.
Well, I know, no connection unless they ever did a co-indie thing. But Rory Gulak, I know he did a gimmick for a long time. Amazing after every move. Amazing.
He's got a lot of heat now. That's become a taboo name now, unfortunately too. But I didn't know about that. I didn't really know too much about him. But that's I didn't know about that. That's with Sanders. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. Must have been though. Must have been.
With this cast of characters, she's worried about that. Come on.
Yeah. Jeez. Come on. Come on, Eric. Come on, Eric. What are you talking about? I felt no. Hey, that's impossible, sweetheart. Come on.
That's what I said.
Get out of here. Get out of here. So here, I want to talk a couple of comments we missed here. Yeah, I really do hope Jim Mitchell comes back full time too. Did anybody, speaking of Wolfie D, did anybody get word on how he's doing though?
I haven't heard anything after those initial reports.
That was the initial report about 2 months ago, and I haven't heard anything since. So I hope he's better.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
It was a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was.
I don't know what happened. I'm assuming it's okay because it would have hurt. If it was bad, we probably would have heard worse. So I'm assuming he's all right. But again, man, if any way to get a hold of some of these guys, it'd be really nice to let them know. Clockwork Orange House of Hell that Sandman tried to do, but I remember I tell you I met Hack. I met him the week before the first one, and he tried to convince me that he thought of the whole thing. He goes, Scotty didn't do nothing. It was all my idea. You know, he was smoking a cigarette, drinking. Watch the Clockwork Orange House of Fun. Clockwork Orange House of Fun. This Wednesday, you'll see everything. I built all that shit, which he usually would, Bill, actually, because from what I understand, he was a contractor, and for a lot of ECW props, he built a lot of that shit.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
That's funny.
Because now, like you go to any kind of death match or gimmick matches like that, they have kind of like the crew that does all that. Who knows? Sometimes I think they even have like, depending on the shindy it is, it might have the fans building them. But back then, it wouldn't surprise me if talent, including him, oversaw that for sure.
I remember, nowadays they do a Home Depot run, and they just go up to Home Depot and buy stuff. But I remember in those days, Sandman was notorious. He'd be the one building a lot of these, like the infamous crucifix that he got put onto that caused Kurt Angle to have a conniption. That was Sandman built that in his backyard, apparently. So like, shit like that, All right, so we go for where we. All right, now classic segment. Jay, I want you to talk about this one because you put that on the cover art for today. The famous scene. Set this one up for me. Set it up here.
So they're talking about all these crazy teams being put together, and our next segment here, it shows Goldie. She's kind of working an interview angle, but not really working. She's just kind of there, just kind of reacting more than anything. Shark Boy and New Jack are playing Candyland, and I had to rewind this like 3 times. I was laughing so hard. New Jack. Just the random stuff that comes out of his mouth during this segment, like he's playing the game and moving the pawn that he's using in the game apparently is a Sandman EC3 action figure.
ECW. Yeah.
And I didn't see what Shark Boy was
hand
using.
grenade.
There was a hand grenade on.
Oh, there was a hand grenade off to the side that New Jack was also slamming on the table. It's like, oh my god!
Such a wild segment.
And this stuff that's like the funniest thing that came out of his mouth. He lands on the vanilla frosting or whatever, and or the white frosting. And he goes, what the hell?
Oh,
I wrote it. He goes,
like,
I got the white woman. I got the white woman.
Queen Frosty.
And then he starts singing. He goes, I got it. Back to the gingerbread plum tree. Jack, back to the gingerbread plum tree.
New Jack.
You going back to the gingerbread? And she's like, and he goes like, what are you talking about? You're not even making any sense. He goes,
you're not playing it right.
He gets upset. He gets pissed off. He starts slamming the board. It's Candyland. And it is the greatest. This expands, guys. This to this day is talked about, and like the Shark Boy New Jack dynamic. I mean, just you have a guy, you have a guy who has factually has 4 justifiable homicides in his life. A guy who's known for stabbing people in the ring, violent man. Who was a legit bounty hunter in his life, who killed 4 people legally. Okay. And Shark Boy, the hero of many children. And they are a team. And it's fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. And it just gets better.
I just cracked up at the white woman because it reminded me of that Blazing Saddles line from the movie. Hey, where the white women at? I was like, oh Jesus.
So true. No, it's great. This whole thing was just a blast. And this
it goes from this very comedic segment to something really, really dark and controversial, which I kind of hinted at earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to the Goldie backstage with Truth then right after that. And she's interviewing him, and he's going off about tagging with one half of the Harris brothers.
Don. Yeah, he's supposed to tag with Don at this point.
And he's talking about the promo that we talked about a few episodes ago that is actually not on the Impact Plus network, the one that we looked up off when we were done, and we found it, and we were like, holy shit. So it's the Interrogators promo of the Harris brothers where they put over the brotherhood. And that's what Truth brings up here is he's like, you and your brotherhood, and he's going off on them. And
that's what he meant.
And then they attack him, and I'm like, oh fuck, dude, this is so wrong. Oh my god.
I did not even catch it.
Yeah,
that's what he's alluding to.
Yeah. So if you're just watching these and you didn't watch our review, like, what are you doing if you didn't watch it? But if you didn't watch it, we discussed this, that it got cut from the episode. And I know Rex, you had watched that. You had found that, helped us
Rex
out.
sent it to us. No, Rex the one who found it and gave it to us.
With that context, this means a lot more. If you didn't see that, then you're probably like, oh yeah, well, whatever on this segment. But with that context, it's like, whoa, where's this going here?
Rex, calm down. We gave you the Rex, relax. We were giving you credit. We're getting to it, baby. Come on. You know we love you. Hang on a second. No, you're right. With that context now, that's what makes it. I mean, so for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, the interrogator segment, the TNA and West sit down. They did one with the Harris brothers. And the very famous interrogator. But they did the Harris brothers, and it was so racy that they cut it, right?
Yeah, not racy, racist.
And yeah, we watched it afterwards. And now people were urging us to play it on our show. And honestly, it's so heavy that it's like we don't even want to put it on this show. It was like we can't put it on this show. It is online. If you do want to search it out, Rex, you can message Rex. He has the link. Out of curiosity, if you are curious, it is something to see on your own time. No question about it. You should, if you want to know for context how crazy this was, the fact. But I got to say, for the sake of whoever reviewed all these to put them out back on, Mark, you watch the Pluto shows, and they air the stuff on there. They knew they couldn't air this today. And this was cut. And actually, Mark, did you see this? You weren't on with this when we watched, right?
No, I heard the audio last week and I didn't know what was going on. I heard you guys talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just filling in the gaps now.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was pretty heavy. We could send it to you. Like I said, if you want to watch, I encourage anybody just for your own sake of context, just see how racist it was to the point you're like, yeah, I can see why it's gone.
I haven't noticed the tattoo on Don Harris's arm, as Rex says too.
Yeah, the
left or right arm.
The SS, yeah.
He's got the SS for sure. So these guys, a lot comes up about them when it comes to this. Especially the SS gets a lot of mixed, there's like, oh, it's just a biker thing, but there's a lot of like, no, it's not really, like there's a lot of back and forth with that. And Rex is saying there was real heat, real, and I wouldn't doubt it.
It seemed pretty legit.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And then here, the funny thing is, the Harris boys stay with Impact in a capacity for 15 more years after this.
They were still down there when I was going to Orlando.
Yeah, well, their company Aerolux was part of the production team. They were the production team.
Once they left there, they did that Aero Lucha, right? They were behind the Aero Lucha, and then they were done.
Which went absolutely nowhere. They still put stuff on social media like, "Hey, remember when this happened?" It's like that nobody gives a shit.
Wait, are they on social media? Jay? Oh yeah, the Harris boys. I don't even know where to find them.
The Aero Lucha stuff is.
Oh, okay.
Aero Lucha still puts stuff out like, "Hey, we're still a wrestling company." No, you're not.
The nurse is the voice of reason.
Yeah, well, listen, and she's saying,
we're not going to stop you, but
the only reason I'm saying that is just so you understand why there was that heat with these guys and why it was so out there that they had to cut it today. You know, you definitely cannot. It's out of the archive. Like it's gone. They removed it from Impact Plus. Like you can't get this anymore.
Yeah.
So, and think about the level of shit that we've seen on the Asylum shows up to 46 already.
Yeah.
That this was bad. Nothing's been removed. There's nudity that's still in there, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Like,
don't promote it too much, Trent. We don't.
Well, yeah,
I don't want to get it taken out.
Yeah, we don't want. Hey, Kevin Martin, do not go back and start sweeping this stuff. Okay, leave that alone. And they had a 2% stake in the company, I think, or something for a little while. Anthem had to, that was it. Dixie didn't pay him, so she gave him stock. But I know Anthem paid him off. They got him out. I believe
so. Yeah, they got. Thank you, Ed Nordholm.
Ed Nordholm, guy, I swear to God,
my hero.
Yeah. What Anthem and Ed Nordholm did. Ed Nordholm's a lawyer by trade, so he's a sharp guy. What they did, and the things they did to fix a lot of the problems during those last few years, man, they took care of a lot of cool shit. I mean, I my hat's off to what the Anthem team has done. Really, really got got a lot of bad blood cleaned up. But kudos to them. Kudos to that team.
Yeah. All speaking of, I know it's I don't know if it's been mentioned on Jaybone News lately, but is it me or is that totally done? The Jeff thing, didn't they like kind of throw that out totally?
Well,
like the last week or so?
Yeah, JJ reported on it. Go ahead, Jay.
Basically,
all right, yeah.
Basically, Tennessee courts told Jeff Jarrett, said, "Look, we got much more pressing things to worry about, just because we can only do so many at a time because of the way things are right now with all the COVID stuff." And so they're trying to get the two sides to just do this, settle this out of court. Doesn't mean it was not dismissed with prejudice, meaning Jeff can still come back with at a later date if he wants to. But the judge was like, no, look, you guys just need to like settle this on your own, sit down and talk it over. It's like, but we're not doing a court case right now. So doesn't mean it can't happen in the future still, but for now it ain't happening.
It's basically what they're trying to say is it's not worthy of this much court litigation. You know, it's like it doesn't constitute this much litigation. So try to settle this. Like basically they're saying pay him for the fucking tapes and get it over with. Like if he really wants tapes that bad, like give him the hard drive it's on, or give him a few bucks, tell him to get fucked, get out of here.
It's like the Ethan Page trading card issue. Here's like $2, go away.
Exactly. In a sense, yes.
Here's what we made off those amped DVDs.
Exactly.
Here's a check for $100.
Exactly. Where was I? Who was I with recently? They had the amp DVDs, and they're like, "Do you have these even?" I'm like, "No, I don't. Those are the ones I don't have." I was with somebody. I forgot who that was. Whoever it was, somebody who watches our show, and a friend of mine. God damn it, I can't remember who you were now. Somebody tell me who that was. But interesting. Hey, Adam liked amped. I only saw clips. I heard it wasn't bad.
They had some good talent on that.
They had some good talent. I'm not gonna say it didn't. I'm not gonna say it didn't. All right, let's keep going. We got really sidebarred here, but so where are we at here? I'm trying to.
Well,
okay,
the match followed. So Truth got beat down from the Harris brothers, and then New Jack walked over, grabbed him with Shark Boy, and took him out to the ring and started the match 2v1. And then the Harris brothers come out like towards the end. And they just start taking out everyone, which was like the most bizarre shit. I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, you could see the uncomfortableness in the ref. He just kind of throws his hands up at one point when the Harris brothers are throwing everybody around, because there's no way Andrew Thomas can control the Harris brothers because they're just monsters.
He can't control much. He's getting to be as bad as Rudy at this point, for God's sake. Andrew Thomas is really losing his grip the last couple of weeks. But anyway,
let's not get crazy. Trend.
He's definitely right. I'm not forgiving Rudy Charles at all at this point.
Yeah, right. And then, but I tell you what, though, it gets that uncomfortable feeling continues because Truth actually wins the match with Don Harris, even though he's not really in the match with him. Like, they don't work together. They go after him after he wins the match. He jumps out of the ring, starts walking away. They chase after him. He jumps the rail and they stop at the rail. It's like shit.
There's
Truth is walking backwards through the crowd, like looking at them, looking over the rail at him, and he's got this look on his face like, "Don't come after me." It's real.
Yeah, it seemed. Honestly, I think like a Vince or somebody was like, "Okay, let's play with this." Like a little bit of heat there. Too much heat. Can't put him in the ring.
Too much heat, man.
It's just knowing the other promo we just talked about, and now all this. Oh, it just gives me the willies just thinking about like.
I didn't have that knowledge going in. I think I'm going to go back and just watch this segment again now because
I kind of want to
curious at everything I missed.
I'm gonna ask Russo though. I'm gonna talk to Vince and ask him straight up. Like I usually get a chance and check on them every week or two, and I'm gonna ask him straight up. Like, was there real heat with these guys? Like, what's the deal? Because they both stay on. I mean, Truth is there till 08, I want to say almost. He doesn't leave till about 08. And Harris to stay until 2017. Like there's 2017-ish. So there's something here. I don't know what it is, but there's something. So I'll see if I can ask Russo about this and find out what's going on, because that'd be very interesting to know for sure if there was more to it. But Killings pinned Shark Boy on this one. Very, very odd. Like this is just. There is no Asylum alliance here at all. This is all Asylum, no alliance. That's what's going on here. Sandman confronts Raven in the hallway, and this was great because Raven's trying to reassure him, like, "No, you can trust." He's like, "Fine." He's like, "Do you bleed extreme?" He's like, "Of course, I'm with you." He goes, "Have I ever screwed you before?" He goes, "Have you ever screwed me? You took my wife and kid from me," which I popped for.
Yeah, that's hilarious. It's like, duh.
I fucking pop. He's like, "You took my wife and kid from me. What do you mean you ever screwed me before?" So I was like, "That's great." And he's like, "Oh, you want to prove me that you're loyal?" He's like, "All right, chug this beer." Raven chugs the beer, spits it at Sandman, very, very, very politely. But I love. Okay, Mark's laughing because I think you're thinking the same thing.
Yes. So pre-COVID, I was like, that would never happen now. Is that what you were thinking?
Even aside from that, I love the very sitcom-y. The camera's on Raven still. He spits the beer, and he's like, "All right." And then you just Sandman just still clocks him with the cane, and you just hear him go, "Ah!" Like he just collapsed. And it's something like it's like the camera didn't pan through. It's like it stayed on Raven. You just see this Singapore cane just clock him. I know he just falls. Ah! Like, well, what did he clock him for? Like
very
because he's Raven and Sandman. Why not?
Yeah, it's a very Three Stooge like. It was hilarious.
It was.
Like, I trust you, but I don't trust you, man.
Rex, we're talking. The Eric Watts thing's coming up next, and Adam's saying he wants your hat, Mark. Or got a trade. Shop Impact, man. That's where it's at. But all right, so so weird this segment. I just love that he cracked him anyway. I just can't get over that. Kid Cash and Trinity with Goldie. He's pissed off that he has to team with this bitch. This
bleeped
whole
it out.
Hmm?
It got bleeped this time.
Was it bleeped?
It was bleeped.
Okay, it was bleeped. I guess
depends context, I guess, on how it's used.
I guess you're right.
That was used towards a woman. They bleeped it out, but
I wrote it down because
telling it to each other.
Yeah,
super inconsistent.
Maybe it's what it is. Maybe it's all context.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to speak. He won't let her speak. He drags her away. He's basically this. They're really continuing the whole like he's pissed off. He's got to deal with her. She works for him. I got a contract with her, and I shouldn't have to do this, but whatever. They leave, and Eric Watts stumbles in, and Jay he keeps referring to the Eric. The Eric is coming in. And Goldie's like, the Eric, you sure? He's like, everyone's favorite Eric. She's like, the Eric who works somewhere else right now. And he's like, he's coming. The Eric, the most famous Eric is coming in. And he says, then he for some reason just shifts it over to like, she owes him a favor. And she forgot her shoes under his bed last night. I'm like, what the fuck is Eric Watts doing at this point? Where are we with Eric Watts, Bill?
she has this look on her face after he says that, like, oh shit, you said that live?
Yeah,
like, like it really did happen. It's like,
it was like, wait, what? It was such a weird, like, the Eric Watts is such a lost character now, man. I don't know.
Once again, the crowd, which is very, I know Jay was earlier saying how like they were a lot of Raven fans, and that's true. But this crowd, more opposed to the Raven, I think it was the Jared fatigue. This is where I think it's just a bunch of the heel sections taking over. A lot of smarky fans liking the heels. There's a Watts chant during this part of the segment.
Is there really? I didn't catch it.
Watts. And I'm like, geez, Watts is over. And
he was so wacky, though. That's why he's over.
He was. Maybe it's the wackiness, referring to the Eric. And then obviously the crowd pops for the Goldie. He'll bring her the shoes she left under the bed reference.
Yeah, it's so weird. Total sidebar. Miller is saying that Andrew Thomas went into the priesthood after TNA. Are you serious? Like, no shit, really? Because he was there in Philly last year. I met him in the Philly tapings last year.
I don't know if that was in between, because I know he was doing production. He's still doing production, not for them anymore. He went back to Kevin Sullivan.
What's Adam's saying right here? He watched Eric Watts in WCW 92, and he forgot how bad his gear was. Worse than Techno Team 2000. Jesus. Eric Watts was so bad. His lost his booking was that insane. It's true. Rex is saying he was lit as fuck, and he must have an addiction at this point. Shit, man. Who knows? I don't know. It was all over the place with Eric Watts lately. But I hope it leads to something. I don't remember. But he was peak when he was doing the stuff with Jared. Like, that was where we were getting somewhere in the beginning, and then it just shifted. Then we went out of control. I don't know, man. It just.
What's funny is earlier on in the episode, I noticed there's a guy in the front row right behind the ring, and it's his big sign. It says Watts is TNA. It's like, oh, there's your one fan that actually gave a shit about you back then.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Was he standing next to the Push Just Incredible sign guy?
Oh, God. I didn't see that one. There's some good signs in there, huh?
No, that was in the heel section, right by the ramp. This one was like right behind the hard camera, like center, like right in the middle of the mat. You look back in the crowd and you'll see it's in there.
These guys, this heel section, and I want to ask Bill, did you start, because these guys started showing up everywhere to indie shows. Like, they weren't just a TNA. These guys were like, this became a thing. Like, they had like chapters by town. And like, you'd see the heel section shirts and like indies on Chicago. I'm like, holy fuck, these guys are growing. You know, I'm like, then a couple times you'd see the actual guys from the Asylum. I'm like, wait, aren't you the heel section guys? They're like, yeah, we're driving down on Wednesday, brother. I'm like, what do you do for work? You're going on a Wednesday. You're driving on a Wednesday to Nashville. Do you not work? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, who can go drive around the country seeing wrestling shows?
Who?
All the time?
Who? Crazy.
That's nuts. Who would do that?
Who would do that? Actually, what the fuck am I talking about?
There's a really good question in chat, by the way, for the end of the show about next week. Just flagging for later because I'm curious too.
Which one? What do we got here?
Codebreaker in YouTube.
Yeah. With Impact week next week, what are we going to do, bro? Yeah, Codebreaker, we're gonna lay it all out. We'll definitely lay it all out.
We'll talk about it at the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll wrap it at the end of the show. Jay and I discussed it, so Jay can wrap it all out for everybody. But
I just want to make sure that question got asked.
No, good for sure.
Same thing.
No, I thought you were going to say it depends on subscriptions and bits and all that.
Oh, we should. Hey, listen, you want shows?
T-shirt orders.
Jaybone's working overtime on the Patreon.
Jaybone just all night long, like that little gif of Kermit, just like, you know, he's typing away for hours.
Lollipops in his mouth coming out.
There's people on Impact joining OnlyFans. Maybe Jaybone's got an OnlyFans, not just a scumbag.
He's shit, man. That's true. That's very true, Jaybone.
Jayboner's OnlyFans.
Jayboner's OnlyFans. Oh my God! Enough.
Okay, Boomer.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic. This is getting a little too much.
What the fuck did you do?
Exactly. Relax. All right. Asylum Alliance match. David Young with Desire. And teaming with Tracy Brooks, taking on Kid Cash and Trinity.
Tracy with an I.
But they're still spelling it with a Y here, which is funny. I did love in Cash's promo. He called her a Bengay ball rubbing bitch. And just like he says to teach that Bengay ball rubbing bitch a lesson. So this is where TNA mentions Jarrett is fighting Sting in Australia for the WWA title. That's Andrew McManus's thing. That WWA had a lot of tie-ins with TNA. He was actually, remember Jay, earlier episodes, he's in the front row. They point him out even, Andrew McManus. Like he's always a promoter from WWA because a lot of talent change going back and forth.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of connection to that. And what else? Trinity was a shining star in this match. I mean, Mark and I were texting during this, and he was like, dude, she's a fucking star.
She could compete in the knockouts division today.
She could, man. I mean, it's a shame there wasn't a women's title then. You know what I mean? It's like she could have led that.
She just didn't have anybody to work, really. I mean, they've got a few people, but there was no division, no structure. It's too bad that, like I mentioned to you, she couldn't have wrestled Trish at some point. They, they both didn't have the talent to work with at that time.
Yeah, just it's a shame, man. There was one spot I noticed that Cash was going real hard. Like he was beating the shit out of Tracy and stuff.
Dude, it was uncomfortable.
Well, it's one of those things where Tracy Brooks, Cash is a stiff worker, but his whole thing was a lot of the women. There's a reason a lot of the women worked with him because it was something they wanted to do to like help them toughen up because they knew he wasn't gonna like go easy on them, and it was a student thing because he's trained by Ricky Morton. He's old school. He's very Southern style wrestling, and a lot of the women did want to because they knew that he would not hold back. It's like, you want to toughen me up? I'm going to work with Kid Cash. So it was one of those things where like they knew this guy could get a lot out of him.
Yeah, there were times where I was just like,
the chop on Tracy, the chest chop.
Yeah,
that the whole crowd was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was like,
he chopped the shit out of her at this point. It was fucking, it was wicked.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it still happens to this day. I was mentioning the other day, I recently saw Kylie against Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander.
Oh yeah,
both went very stiff with her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what she was wanting. I know when she had the Alex Shelley match, she made the biggest deal out of it. Like that was like a dream come true for her. So
it's those guys who these girls, a lot inherently, like if you're wrestling a girl, I'm sure a lot of people inherently like you don't want to kill, like you want to take it a little easier. It's a girl, but I'm sure a lot of these girls who really wrestle hard, like a Kylie, it's like, don't hold back on me. Like, go full on, and you Trinity and Tracy were these types. Like, no, beat my ass. Let me show you what I got. So they knew Cash could handle it. And but that chop on Tracy was fantastic. It was like, holy shit. There's a spot where he's roughing up Tracy Brooks, and David Young is just sitting there watching it. Like he's right next to him because he's waiting for the spot that happens on the screen where the mystery luchador comes up, and it's very Black Scorpion here. WCW vibes, Mark. Very Black Scorpion comes up. Jay, I think Jaybone's doing the voice here. I'm convinced. It was Jaybone doing the Black Scorpion, the mass luchador voice, and he's like, next week, I will. What was you, Jaybone? Won't lie to me. It was next. The arena darkened too. They darkened the arena. Screen goes on. It's next we're gonna find out who I am, and that was it. Tracy hits a chair on Kid Cash, and then Young spine busters him, gets the win. So the distraction causing the loss. So feeding that story. This needs to have a good payoff. This needs a good payoff, man.
It really does. It really does. And I'm pretty sure commentary referred to the dark figure as a him, which is hilarious because the first few were, the next few clearly weren't. But Trinity was out there
right
when the video played, so
could have been taped.
Well,
via satellite.
Via satellite.
oh no, these are all live. Yeah, so
hey, babe, Daddy.
That's right.
Yeah, kayfabe, Daddy.
It was definitely
So, yeah, we'll see. It's got to be something good though, because this is 4 weeks in a row now that they think they said that this has happened to him.
This is in a couple of weeks. It was clearly Trinity in that. You could see it
for 2 weeks. It was Trinity.
100%. It was Trinity in there.
It was like that whole time. Caleb was not suicide.
Was not suicide.
Wait, what?
Who? What?
Who?
With a
Get
K?
This is the throwback.
Yes, throwback. We don't talk about it. Suicide wasn't around back then. But so again, this better be a good payoff because you've teased this a long time. This has been a really stretched one with very little to go off of. Just a lot of interference, not consistently every week, enough that it annoys you, but you're kind of like, dude, okay, this needs to really pay itself off. I'm curious. I don't remember who it is. So we'll find out.
It's funny. It's funny though, because you're talking about the whole David and Tracy thing, and even after they won, Desire was just looking over at Tracy like, "No, we don't give a shit about you." No,
yeah.
Like, hey, let's all raise hands together. No, fuck you. You just stay over there hurting. You're
yeah. Wait, Jaybone, don't you mean desire? You gotta say it like that.
Desire.
What Desire can get across without even speaking.
True. Very true.
Hell yeah, she can. I mean,
Desire.
Hey, settle down, Jaybone.
The fact that Desire is the mother of Sonny Siaki's child. I think shoot, it is interesting to me. I found that out recently. She's and that kid's got to be like 17 now because that's how long ago this shit was. It's fucking crazy. Sonny Siaki. Sonny Siaki is a 17-year-old kid. All right, so where we at? Where we leave off here? Okay, so Goldie with AJ and D'Lo. This was interesting. Let me, Jay, give me your analysis. Let's go around this one because this was interesting. They drop a lot of interesting tidbits on this, right? Talking about their match coming up, basically how they got lumped into being a tag team, right, Jay? Like what? I'll let you take it from here. How kind of D'Lo positions this?
We've talked about this in past weeks. How these guys got put together. They're two number one contender guys. And now D'Lo must have seen our show last week. That's all so that's why he cut the promo this week talking about this. So wait, never mind.
He drove in his DeLorean to go back and
88 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it wound up in this episode right here. But yeah, he's like, isn't it funny? Well, first he puts over the company itself for saying you're going to give me a live mic. I couldn't have done that in my old, where I was employed before. Mm-hmm. So he says that, but then he says, isn't it funny how AJ Styles and I got put together in this tournament? While Jeff is defending his championship, he puts us in this so that he doesn't have to worry about us over here. Like we're preoccupied. We don't have a chance at that championship because we're doing this. And so it's like that was just really interesting that he said that. And then what's hilarious is AJ. She goes to AJ for the next point, and he's either hiding something or he completely forgot his lines, and he goes, nah, you know what? Let's just go to the ring. It's
early
like,
AJ.
wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, because it's funny because there are times when he is spot on in these early days, and you see the same AJ now. It was really good. And then there's moments like this, like, wait, where's your? Oh, okay, goodbye.
I agree. I wrote down that AJ botches his line. Did you? Okay, Mark. Let's start with you, and then Bill. Let's take a poll here. Did he botch it, or was he trying to hide something? Because it could be that too.
I assumed it was a botch when it happened.
I thought so. I thought he kind of botched. Bill, it seemed like he forgot his line too. I agree.
He forgot his line.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great promo now and became a great promo, but like this episode, this is not.
Yeah,
I remember more of a promo he was at the time back then.
Yeah, he was definitely off. It was like,
yeah, and it felt bad that he was with D'Lo, who cuts a really good promo.
Yeah.
So I think he got lost in D'Lo's promo.
yeah,
Probably.
This was a great one too.
Because D'Lo cuts it. He talks about a couple different points there.
Mhm.
And you know, so I could see where a young AJ would be like, okay, now I'm going to talk about what I mean. He pulled.
Yeah, it's
me.
almost like in like basketball. Like if you had the one player dominating, you got like Allen Iverson on the court, and everybody just watches them, and they forget what they're supposed to do. So I felt that was AJ in this segment. He's there. He had a line, but then he started listening to D'Lo, and he's like, "What? Huh?"
And the presence of greatness.
Yeah, I'm with you on
D'Lo's
that.
promo was great too. Like you don't get a lot of promos like that where in an episodic show, if you don't know what's going on and you come in, D'Lo's promo caught you up, told you what was going on, told you what was coming next, and just encapsulated everything. Great promo from D'Lo.
Actually, that's
You
a
forget
very
how
good point.
good he was. He's so good.
It's true. It's we talk about it since the debut. I've been so blown away. I don't think I appreciated him enough. You know, I appreciate him as a senior member of the locker room today, and him when he gets thrown into like the funny vignettes, and he's still great. He delivers on all the, you know, the wrestlers' court and the Aces and Eights little tease that they did, the Heath stuff.
Brown.
Oh, DeLorean Brown. DeLorean Brown's phenomenal. But I appreciate how, but it's like, man, I forget how truly good he was. He was a very, and you got now it kind of makes sense. All the success he did get up north there, like they saw something in him. You know, he was a good performer, man. This guy knew how to go point A to point B. This guy knew what to do. So
I would be tempted, man. I'd be tempted to hot shot him to the world title if I'm that.
You know what? That's a great point. I'm thinking the same thing at this as while I'm watching. I'm like, this is a prime guy to put as a world champion.
Agreed.
You know, he was right there.
Yeah, his emotion, his mannerisms, like his in-ring work, the whole deal, his promo, D'Lo's total package.
Plus, the crowd loves him. Like they're insanely into him. You know, insanely into him. And that's the thing that gets me. It's like shit. You're right though. Should have hot shotted him for this one for sure. But we'll see. I mean, it didn't happen, unfortunately. He's around, and I forget last week. I totally forgot he had another run up there, and before coming back as an agent, and then doing the Ace and Eights thing. But what else we got here? So Raven is in the ring at this point, calls out Jarrett, and then to part of the innocent victims thing, DDT's Jeremy Borash, takes Borash out. TNA panics and it's like, oh, we need a ring announcer, and he calls out Mortimer Plumtree. It's Mortimer, get out here. It's like, what the fuck? Like, now let's say this, Jay. We did catch this last week or a couple weeks ago. Mortimer in during that big brawl that Sports Entertainment Extreme had. Mortimer's in the back as like a timekeeper or something, an agent basically, production base. You know, he said, and we're like, is that Mortimer Plumtree? So he was still working in a backstage capacity, but they bring him out his first time back on truly officially on camera in months.
Yeah.
And since the whole thing where he's trying to find Russo and he can't get to Russo, and he comes out very shakily, does it ring announcing at this point. Like he's really nervous and he doesn't know what to do.
Oh yeah. They hand him the mic and he does an intro, like basically if they would have grabbed me out of the crowd for the first time and be like, now coming to the ring, so-and-so, you know, no oomph behind it. No, now coming to the ring, weighing in. And, you know, it's like he's never held a mic before in his life, which is even more hilarious because in the early days of NWA, he used to come out with the Johnsons. And he
did AJ, you know, he managed. He was
pretty
AJ
good.
Too. He's a good mic guy. He was a good promo, man.
So just him playing the idiot with the mic was really funny. But what's even more funny is right after Raven did this to Jeremy Borash, Don West goes, well, at least he's taking care of his business in the ring.
I didn't get that.
Tanae's like, how can you defend him doing that to Jeremy? And Todd West is like, yeah, well, hey, you know.
That is funny. The fact that he's calling it, he's just like defending. I really think that
the first time you ever hear these two like on opposite ends, because they're usually like right on, just either complimenting each other or following each other on a point and just exaggerating a moment. This is the first time I think that these two are like complete opposite spectrum.
They were.
It was so funny. Don West, he's not defending Raven, but I understand why today was like he thought that's what he was doing. He's like thinking big picture. Like that's like this new thing that they're trying to do is bring everybody together and settle their shit in the ring, as opposed to in the back where somebody got plowed over by whatever,
It was it's true. I feel like Don did that a lot during this time. Like there's in the show, he was kind of like throwing these lines on today. I was just like, man, I'm tired too, dude. Like, but you're giving me a lot to cover here. like it just felt like that. He's like, dude, I'm fucking beat, dude. Don't give me more to worry about right now. But it was good. It was funny. AMW taking on AJ and D'Lo. It was an okay match. Strange that this didn't have the fire that I thought it would.
Nah.
Very forgettable match. Like it just didn't have it. Was the official word a double DQ? Did you guys have that down too? Because everybody just runs in. Sports Entertainment Extreme gets in here, and
I thought the official was AMW.
That's what they were trying to do. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I do have that. Tried to get a double DQ, but AMW got the win. My bad. I did have that written down. Yes. So yeah, and I do like that Tenay was explaining that though. He was like, their idea was they were trying to get the double DQ so they get the pass, but that backfired because AMW gets the win on this one, which I like. I like that Tenay set you up with that psychology to let you know that hey, hey, they were trying to get the double DQ. Okay, Rex, this is the 18th comment about Tracy's ass. Okay, fine. We're gonna talk about it. I didn't see it. My God, he will not let this go.
I saw it. It was on screen for a long time. It was a lot like a Francine pile driver in ECW. It was like a powerbomb setup.
My God.
It was when everything went dark and then the promo appeared on the screen. He had her bent over and she was like that for a couple seconds. It wasn't that long. Just take it easy.
It was. I mean, maybe my television was paused, but it seemed like a long time.
It might have been. It felt like 3 minutes.
It felt like our intro.
Felt like a long time.
It felt like our intro. All right, Rex.
It was possibly longer than the Johnson's career in TNA.
There we go. At least 15 seconds, he's saying.
See, that's what I'm saying.
She's my favorite.
It was like Francine. I mean, it was just there.
He goes, Mir's like, look, you need some sleep. You let us finish the review.
But we're going
almost there, Mir. We're almost there.
We're in OT. This is overtime.
This is definitely overtime. But she's my favorite knockout. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I just didn't catch it. There's plenty more of Tracy Brooks as the years go by. Believe me, there's a lot more of Tracy Brooks that gets shown to the world. We get Glenn Gilberti's in the back. Talks about this was good. This was very interesting. Hang on, I want to read that comment here. He said Adam sat front row behind Tracy and Borash for an entire show. Bud Craig and Thong all day long. You are Adam. You are a married man. You are a father. I want you to really pick your battles here, my friend. Take it easy. I can't blame the guy. All right, this thing with Glenn was very interesting. It was a lot of like shoot topics, huh, Bill? Like talking about politics, wrestling, the state of wrestling. What else? Do you have any notes?
I like how he went after NWA. He's like to kind of even bring that up. Like it's finished. Or like why would you even talk about the NWA?
Yeah.
And honestly, it made me think of the current state of it.
It's funny. I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing.
The whole thing when, and I know we all love TNA.
Yeah.
But when they made the change to Impact Wrestling, A lot of people didn't agree with it, but if you're going for, they were going for a bigger audience. They wanted to try to be that by far number 2 company, maybe take a shot at number 1, and you have to go for a more mainstream type. And NWA, I know it's ancient. It has history. I was big fans of it at times, but remember, WCW, they got away from it. ECW got away from it. It is your granddad's wrestling promotion.
It's true.
It will always be that. It has its place, but that's kind of, I see what they're doing here. And obviously with Russo behind it, you know what they're doing here. You almost feel, even though it's going to be a little while longer, this is kind of started the break between the NWA and TNA. There's this Glenn promo right here.
I mean, he's telling you right there that it's ancient. You know, we're trying to evolve from it. The NWA, I feel like, is always used as the stepping stone. You know, it's always, and in recent years, you know, it's like, hey, ECW's coming around. We need an NWA tie-in to give us some credibility. You know, TNA's coming around. We get NWA tie-in. Ring of Honor pulled the NWA in for a little bit. Even more recently, again, another way. Really? Yeah, really? Early on, Bill, you remember these days when Adam Pearce and Brent Albright were defending the NWA title. They were going back and forth on Ring of Honor shows. There was a tie-in back in 10, 12 years ago for the NWA and Ring of Honor. And who else? You know, I mean, they've all used them in some way because it had the history. That title, that world title, does tie to a lot of big names. I can't take that away from.
And that 10 pounds of gold meant everything to any of us who watched wrestling in the 80s. The lineage of that belt is still, you know, the top of the heap.
The fact that it's still alive in some capacity, you know, that's the thing. And that's why it gives everybody that push. But this promo I agree with you, Bill. This had a lot of those like shots fired, you know. This is like, it's ancient, man.
Yeah, it wasn't Shane Douglas and they can all kiss my ass. But it was subtle, but quite strong jabs.
What happened to? I think he retired, madam. Brent Albright finished up.
I last remember him tagging with Roddy. Maybe still 7 years ago.
That was it. I think he retired out. I think I saw something on Where Are They Now with him, and he was just working somewhere, just regular job. Wait, Bill, I want to ask you: were you in the crowd for the "They Can All Kiss My Ass" promo? Were you there for that?
I was there for that.
Holy shit!
Wow,
one of my top 5 promos of all time. It, to this day, gives me chills because it's actually
the night they crossed the line.
That was
big moment. Big moment.
Across the line.
I envy on that because I listened to Shane Douglas's podcast, and that's the intro. It's in the intro of the podcast. And I told his co-host Chad, who wants to come on this show, by the way. Chad wants to be a guest on Throwback one day, and especially when Shane shows up, we're gonna bring Chad on. And I said, dude, every time you guys do your pod, I said, to this day, that gives me chills. That he goes, it's iconic. It's an iconic moment, you know. But he names off all the guys. Such a great promo.
Shots fired, Trent. Miller's just on a roll tonight.
Was that spot with Tracy longer than Trent's marriage? You son of a bitch! That is one of the most shots fired comments. I've heard some shit on this show. I have heard some fucking whoppers. You goddamn listeners have attacked me a couple of times, but this one takes the taco, pal. This is unbelievable. Millard Harris, one of our most loyal longtime listeners, just called me out and said, was the spot with Tracy Brooks longer than Trent's marriage? You dirty, dirty bastard.
Shots fired. Run it.
Unbelievable.
Still,
you know what?
Still funny.
You know, Jay, is still funny. Jay, I think he got me with that. I deserve Machine Gun for that one. I'm going to have to play Machine Gun on this. Unbelievable. He took me out. My God. Woo. All right. But no, this is a phenomenal. Like this thing with Glenn, I recommend people watch it even a second time. A lot of interesting things said here. Talks about how Russo, you know, is the guy who ushered in the sports entertainment era. Whether you like Vince Russo or not, you can't take that apart of it. What's up?
One point he mentions how he doesn't want to see this business run by a bunch of guys who are 40. They're so out of touch. What would they know? And I thought about the business now. I was like, wait a minute.
That's
like
yeah.
Gilberti calling it 17 years in advance.
Fuck, man. No kidding, huh? Like he really was.
Some
These guys had
shit.
They knew what they wanted, man, at the time. They knew what it would be. If Glenn to this day is a absolute savant of wrestling psychology. I listen to him two shows a week. I listen to him, and there's clips of him with the Keep It at 100 stuff he does. He is an absolute savant of wrestling psychology. This guy just gets it, and he will lay out for you why it's not working today. It's unbelievable how intelligent he is with this stuff. But anyway, but I digress. We get the hype for next week. Don hypes the 6/18 1-year anniversary show that's about to come up in a couple weeks from here. So they seem so tired in this segment. I wrote that again. They are tired or off because they just were not clicking, man, these two on this night. But we're almost at 1 year, Jay. We're almost at 1 year.
I'm wondering if it was like hot that night. Because like even Siaki was just walking out and he was completely drenched.
It's May in Nashville, May 21st in Nashville. I mean, it's very well possible this was a hot day. Somebody go look up the historic weather data right now for May 21st.
What was the weather?
Somebody go ask Alexa what the weather was on this day. All right, main event, guys. We're a little long, but let's main event. Clockwork Orange, House of Pancakes. No, House of Fun.
House of Pancakes.
With special guest referee Raven for his own
I got to
match.
make a comment about this entrance of Sonny Siaki.
Go ahead. Talk about it.
This is where one of these female fans, I think, I mentioned this before, but it was very obvious that I put in my notes so creepy because as the very sweaty Sonny Siaki is walking down the aisle, she gets her hand and just kind of rakes his chest in a very seductive manner as he walks by. And then, like, you just see her kind of like over the moon afterwards.
Really?
Very, very creepy. Very creepy.
There's 3 things I'm going to go back and watch after we're done.
She would be timed out today.
Are you serious? It was that much? I got to go watch this.
Much, man.
I got to watch the heat on the Harris. And
we pull that. We're not in the building anymore, Trent.
Jesus Christ. No kidding. Yeah, no shit, right? Wow, I didn't. You guys did. Mark or Jay, you guys catch that? I didn't see that at all.
I did see it. I thought it happened kind of quick. I'm gonna watch it back real quick right now and just see how long. I did notice it. Like I noticed, like I said, he was like sweating bullets walking to the ring. That or he drenched himself. One of the two, obviously. Someone
was it longer than Tracy's underwear? Tracy's thong.
We're gonna go check.
Maybe not. Maybe not that long.
We're gonna check. We're gonna see, man. Trent's a good guy. Thanks, Miller. I appreciate that.
Watch it right now.
But Stream Elements is telling us that Kyle's a scumbag. Okay. All right. So Raven's a guest referee, right? Refuses to make any counts. It's that when Sandman comes, so it's Sandman and Siaki. Raven's not counting for either guy.
Dude, no selling from the promo. He no sold the promos. He no sold in the ring.
Nothing. You don't know where he stands. It's just he's just sitting in the corner. Classic Raven, right, Mark? Just
Raven's the fucking man.
Smug. I love that he never breaks character. He's just in the zone at all times. And then he just gets up and DDTs both of them. That takes them both out. Now I'm on my. He's in the Raven business, is what TNA says, right? I'm a Raven. That's it. Both groups come out. Team Extreme, Sports Entertainment Extreme. They just start brawling. Raven leaves. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." He leaves. He goes outside. Calls out Jarrett. Right, Jarrett, where are you, Jarrett? And this was fantastic. Because Mark actually texted me before I finished it to let me know. He said, "That ending, holy shit!" And so Raven comes out, gets attacked by Red, who's wearing a Ribera jacket, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Clutch. Bill, do you have a Ribera jacket in the merch closet?
No, I would never get a Ribera jacket because you can't do that. You have to be given a Ribera jacket. You cannot purchase a Ribera jacket.
Well, we go to Japan, we go to Ribera, and we tell them we're workers, and we say, "Hey, we're with Impact. Give us a jacket," I do want to eat there someday. I do want to go to Ribera. I heard the steak is phenomenal. Ribera. What's up, Jay? What's got you?
I just saw the spot that we were talking about with the hand in the chest, and you blatantly see it, but it's pretty quick. And then she just turns to her friend like, ooh,
look what I did.
But
I touched the rock.
I tell you, right after that, here's another comical thing is I don't know what was longer. Trent's marriage or Sandman's entrance. Jesus, he hits like all the different bleachers.
Again? Where did he hit me with this one now? Who put that one in there?
This one was like, okay, right after Siaki hits the ring, completely no-sells Raven, crouched down in the corner, like, whatever, I ain't scared of you. And then, Raven comes out, cracks his beer, he's on the stage, looks around, jumps down, jumps up in this bleachers, comes down, jumps up in this bleachers, comes down, walks over here across the walkway, jumps up in this bleachers, dumps beer down some guy's gullet, comes down. Security's like, what the fuck, dude? Let's go. He jumps up in this bleachers over here. He's like in 4 different bleachers on his way to the ring. It's like, holy shit. It's like, people complain about our intro. Seriously, watch this entrance. I mean, you will never be upset at our intro again.
It was a pay-per-view. It's a pay-per-view entrance.
Well, you got to remember, he's used to coming out for the full song of Enter Sandman as his entrance.
Almost 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's got to make it. He's used to making it last for a while. So.
Oh, so that's what he did back in the ECW days.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full song.
Yeah,
and somehow he fit a 12-pack of beers between 2 jean pockets. I don't know how that happened.
He gets to the ring and he's so drunk and bloody.
I was amazed. He would just keep pulling beers out of his jeans. I go, how many does he have in there? Like they're like Jinkos, clearly.
Big ass pockets, big old black khakis or whatever.
Incredible.
If I ever start reviewing ECWs someday, I'm gonna start with that Shane.
That's when I went extreme.
Yep.
I'm gonna start with the Shane promo, and I'm gonna go from there. And
it's pretty much the start of it. That's what started everything. So in a way,
although you could tell, because like I said, I was going there when it was Eastern, and you could see it. Like it didn't really change overnight. Just the name did. Like Joey Styles was there. Most of the main players were there for that 6 months before, but a lot of those were really late, about a year beforehand.
Who ran Eastern before Paulie though?
Wait a fucking minute. I even got this now. From Hakeem, well, we're shorter. The GFW merger, the shot of Tracy Brooks' ass, or Trent's marriage. I got this is truly the night the line was crossed. Was today, TNA number 46. They're turning on me, Jaybone. It took 46 weeks. We need to make it to a year before these animals turned on me today. Incredible. Fuck. From what I know, they're gonna probably book my ex-wife on the fucking next show at this point. The 1 year special, Trent. Look who we got on the 1 year special. It's your ex-fucking wife for some reason. That's what's gonna happen over here.
And there she is.
Oh God.
Let me know when that episode is.
Unbelievable. For ratings, that's like some Howard Stern shit. That's like a ratings boost. Look who we got here, your ex-wife.
Hey, can I get a Zach Morris real quick before we leave too? I know we're nearing the end here.
We are near the
end. Yeah.
Well, how about we want it now or you want it at the end? Up to you.
At the end. End.
Let me wrap up.
We got to talk about this shit here.
So Red attacks Raven on the outside, beats his ass, drags him back inside. This is payback from earlier now.
It's mini Axl Rose.
What's that?
It's mini Axl Rose.
Basically, he's got the braids, the red braid. He's drags Raven's ass back and beating his ass. Gathering comes out. Red fights them off. Heroic as shit at this point. Like it is fucking a Red show.
Hell yeah.
Fucking drop toe hold on Alexis into Julio.
Yeah, into the ball shot. He takes them both out. He sets up Raven on a table outside. Does a swanton. Table does not break because Red is too light. So the
he bounces off.
He fucking lands on his feet.
Lands on his feet and then goes into the commentary table.
Right at the commentary table. And then
so insane.
Beats him up a little bit more again. Goes back to the ring. Fucking takes him out. Raven sells it like a champ, though. Raven sold both hits like a champ, too.
He's like, oh,
the second one. I
the
thought he
second
killed
one
him.
just obnoxious
Dude.
as shit.
It was
Oh
great.
my God.
I
What
thought he
a
killed him.
closing segment.
Oh, they go off the air with it. They went off the air with
They go
that.
right off. Break,
Fucking
boom,
amazing.
off the air.
That's how you end the show.
It was so good. I don't want to play the
Line
Zach Morris. It says the Zach Morris line says this is horrible. It wasn't
Yeah,
horrible.
no, this was not horrible.
No,
Mine
it's
is
fucking
hey,
great.
Red is a main eventer. Over like Rover.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, the crowd losing their mind at this point.
Red has never looked this good. Like Red is like strap his ass right now.
Yeah.
Well, like I was saying with D'Lo earlier, like a couple of weeks ago, like
Mhm.
that's D'Lo at the top. Now it's like Red, take over Red.
Yeah.
After doing that was crazy.
But
Fantastic.
I forgot because I replayed it a couple times. I'm like, why the fuck is Red out there? I know he was like over during that first match, but then I forgot Raven came out at the end of that first match that he was in, the 3-on-2, and he was the first collateral damage. And I was like, oh, okay, so this goes back to that. I'm like, okay, so that's good storytelling. That's good storytelling.
It was great continuity in this. It was.
Hey, it'd be great storytelling. Maybe he was the guy that attacked Raven to start the show.
That it could be money, but
There's
no,
a voiceover from Double J.
from Jeff Jarrett. This was great though. This closing segment was just fire.
I was on my feet. I mean, I was texting you, but I was cooking dinner, and I was sitting down to watch it, and then I was fucking jumping up and this was fucking great. This final segment was insane.
This is the best part of the Asylum shows because they do feel so fresh at a time where this stuff's just exciting. Anybody who watched this from this time to as it grew, the rise of Red is incredible at this point. Wait, hold on, Zach Bonner. The amount of time Jaybone hitting a Rally's employee lasted longer than Trent's marriage. What the fuck is happening tonight? You fucking animals! Jesus Christ! This is a punchline. This is a punch. I'm glad my divorce is a punchline to you people. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Go through a court battle with a bitter fucking broad, and you tell me how much of a punchline this is. And it was a short
that
match.
was quick for you. I'm still a fugitive. Fuck you, Trent.
That's on you. That is on you. Oh my God. Hey, where's Checkers, asshole? That's what I'm saying.
Can we confirm?
On that note,
was it a Checkers or a Rallies?
Yeah, Jaybone. Did you ever? It was a Checkers, right? It wasn't
It was
Rallies.
Checkers. Yeah.
God, thank God, because if we were sitting there selling Checkers when it was actually a Rallies, we'd have been fucked. That Mark would have been.
Yeah, this is horrible.
Yeah, that's what that would. If we.
I mean, by all means,
might
keep
have to
talking
go.
about rallies gets me in the clear. Like, I don't know what fuck rallies is.
Well, yeah, keep talking about rallies.
There's
Keep
no
talking about
rallies
it.
around here. You guys are just silly.
Dude, Zach Morris needs to go in the bank though as a never remove. This is the number one.
Oh, I love
soundbite.
Zach stays. I want to expand it too. Actually.
Oh hell yes.
Just as long as we quit talking about it. I still don't know what the hell a Topanga is.
Well, there's no Topanga in the bank. And
A
that's gonna stay there.
Topanga doesn't matter, J-Bone, because a Topanga is not a Kelly. So,
Clearly.
Damn right.
Topanga's not a Kapowski.
You are
Who
damn
gives a shit?
right.
Yeah. Kelly Cap for life. See a Topanga.
That's right. But that is it, guys. That is episode number 46, NWA-TNA, May 21st, 2003. A very interesting episode. It's like, I don't know. It's got some weird moments, weird moments. And
Yeah,
then some real.
like the tag team matchups are weird, awkward on a different level, and we all talked about that. But the wrestling and the storytelling was all gold. So
Well,
there was a lot of back and forth, with this one. So
when you put the lens of time on it now too, and there's a lot of uncomfortable things like socially that kind of throw more chaos into it. The whole thing is just, it's 2 hours, but man, it goes fast. Like it went really, really fast. It's an easy watch. Very
This
easy
one
watch.
very much did. This one very, very much did. Because I remember looking at, I think at one point you texted me, Mark, and I was like, yeah, I'm watching it, and I looked at it, I'm like, I was an hour and a half into it. I was like, where the hell did an hour and a half go? I'm like, holy shit. So I was watching it while working. So I was like, God, that flew. So it was a very easy watch. lot of little highlights, a lot of things to remember, kind of put in the bank. As you know, there's a lot of callbacks coming from this episode. You know, it's a good one. It's a good like pivot point episode because you know it's just gonna feed a lot of shit. You know, Raven, the Raven
Rise of
stuff.
Red.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. The Rise of Red continues and becomes a very, very important part of TNA. The tragedy of Red was the injury. The injury that he gets later on, years later, he never was fully the same after it. It was a very quick shift in Red after the knee, and it was a long time before he got that momentum back, and he never fully did because he was always protective of the knee afterwards. But enjoy this ride because this Rise of Red is one of the most fun parts of TNA. So,
I'm gonna pull a Trent. Today, Fight posed a question of who, when you see the X Division belt, who do you think of? And my answer was Red. Like, that's still the person I think of when I see that belt.
What was the question? Oh, the X Division?
The X Division title. Yeah, who's
nice.
the person you think of most when you see that belt?
Interesting.
Red. To me, it's still him because he
Nice.
typifies that division. He was undersized, little, perfect underdog, great representative of the division.
It's true. Actually, that's a good question. I'd like to post to everybody. What is who is the first X Division wrestler you think of when you see the X Division title? That's a good question. I'd like to. Tonight's show is longer than Trent's marriage. Trent's marriage is shorter than the Ultimate Warrior's entrance. You fucking animals today. Unbelievable today. We better be getting subs and bits and all sorts of shit to make up for this, man. I swear to God, I better be getting a care package. Pizza King, how you doing, buddy? All right, nice. You are an evil man. You two, Millard and Rex today are evil gentlemen today. But
they can make up for it next week. Next week is Bound for Glory week. Between this channel and my channel, it's just going to be off the chain busy with BFG stuff.
Unbelievable. You guys are doing it. Yeah. So look forward to next week. But guys, that's the show. We're gonna do. So Jay, talk about next week. You brought it up already. We did talk about for this show. We're gonna bump it next week because of Bound for Glory week. Because there's a lot going on. We've been asked by Impact to do a prediction show, so we're trying to fit a lot into next week. So go ahead, Jay. You want to set that up?
We're gonna do it. I'm actually gonna bypass AEW stuff. Middle of next week. We're gonna do because it's the only night that Impact doesn't have some kind of special programming on during the Access TV and all their stuff there because they got two shows on Tuesday, the Talking Keg and the Go Home show. So Wednesday, because we didn't want to do it the day before, we're gonna do Wednesday night. That's gonna be our Bound for Glory prediction show. And then Thursday they got a show. Saturday their entire Saturday is loaded with reruns of a couple of the other shows, all leading up to Bound for Glory. So, keep an eye out for that Wednesday.
How about this? I'll throw it out there if time permits, because we're thinking let's focus really on Bound for Glory next week. And so we'll put Throwback off to the following. And the following, I have another AEW Thursday show, so we might have to make it a Wednesday special the following week too. So we'll talk about that. If you guys want, if time permits, maybe in place of the Thursday Throwback show, we can just do a Twitch exclusive shoot around Bound for Glory memories type talk around for an hour or so. Maybe we'll do something like that to fill in there. We want to really push BFG. It's the Granddaddy show. Let's really, really push BFG next week. Like I said, Impact has specifically asked us to do the predictions on Wednesday, so we want to get that in there too. But let's maybe do a Bound for Glory chat around. We can use one of Hakeem's articles for best Bound for Glory matches. So if time permits, we'll announce that with plenty of time. Jump on Twitch. Let's just talk about it. Let's shoot some ideas around some good favorite matches and put that out there. What's up, Jay?
One thing I'm doing is because I had a special request from a very good supporter of mine. They just put out a complete go home show of the 2010 night before, or go home show before 2010 Bound for Glory. So what I said, they asked me to review that because they put it on the YouTube channel. I said, well, how about this? I said, how about I go over highlights of that and review the 2010 Bound for Glory from 10 years ago. So that's what I'm doing on my channel sometime next week. I don't know exactly when. Okay. But yeah, we can absolutely do something similar to that or whatever on Thursday too. So
yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll decide. We'll let you guys know with enough time. But that's the famous 10-10-10 Bound for Glory, if anybody remembers. 10-10-10. That's that was an interesting one. That was a very interesting one. So Jay, if you haven't seen that one, that's it had a lot of hype.
Oh yeah, that's
I have not seen that one.
It had a lot of hype, Mark. That one went in for a lot of hype at the time.
I was actually really excited. I mean, I didn't know what was going to come down the road from that, obviously, but because I think there was some controversial stuff with Jeff Hardy, but I was excited at the time because I actually posted something on my Facebook 10 years ago congratulating Jeff Hardy. Picture of him in the title.
Oh, I have seen that Bound for Glory.
That was the formation of Immortal, I believe. That was it.
I know that one. I have seen that one.
Yeah, that's where Hogan and Eric helped him win.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
But the show was good. It was a good Bound for Glory, actually. I remember it was a decent show, actually.
The Go Home show even has Mick Foley versus Ric Flair. It's like,
that's the one. Classic.
Yeah. I'm like, that's pretty big for a Go Home show.
No, it was.
Crazy.
They actually had a heat. That's what I remember. Flair and Foley had a lot of heat.
Why?
Flair called Foley a glorified stuntman in his book around that time.
Ooh.
And this was in Foley. They had heat, man. They were not friendly. Mick really resented that a lot, and they had heat coming into that, so they kind of worked it out. But there was some tension with those two at one point because Flair really badmouthed Foley, so it was it had a lot of history going back. But man, let's wrap this up. Well, guys, keep tuned to the Twitter, the Facebook at We Talk Impact. We're going to put enough time out with the schedule. We'll lay out a full schedule for next week with enough time. But don't forget to join us on Sunday night for the the Impact Plus Weekly. We'll be doing that. Open forum, Mark's favorite show. So, but in the meantime, let's get our plugs in here. Mark, where can people connect with you? Just want to touch base?
Yes, I'm nice and quick at Taya2 World. Yeah, at 2TayaWO on Twitter. That's it. That's where you'll find me.
Get a mark there. Bill, where can people connect with you and the pictures to come from the collective weekend?
They can follow me at mine on Twitter and Instagram for that. And my name at William M. Gardner, GARDNER. And yes, I actually had a few minutes earlier before we went on. I started getting them to the side, so they'll be coming up shortly.
There you go. Nice. Jaybone, get your plugs in.
You can find me over in that other little podcast called Smash This Podcast, where we're smashing all things wrestling and trying not to have a stroke at the same time. You can find Smash This Podcast also on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitter box. Be on the Twitter box. You can find me at Jaybone5150. That's JAYBONE 5150.
Very nice, guys. You can get me at Trent Zuberi on Twitter. Also, Hemi Music on Twitter as well. Go ahead and support. Look, t-shirts. Get a Hemi Music t-shirt. Go to HemiMusic.com. We got a bunch of new shirts that are being done by the team that owns Pro Wrestling Tees. They have a division that's doing stuff for us too. So go to HemiMusic.com. We have like 9 shirts up there. Support that. That's my big. If you want to support me, that's a good place to support me. But the show, follow us at We Talk Impact, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Type in Total Nonstop Impact. Comes right up on all the social medias. Audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Amazon's new podcast platform, Pandora. We're on everything. Geo7 over in India as well. Rate, review, subscribe, guys. Leave a comment. If you have iTunes, leave us an iTunes comment. Give us some feedback. Rate it. And if you got some cool stuff in there, we will definitely read your review on the show as well. ProWrestlingTees.com/Total Nonstop Impact. 4 shirts available. Bunch of new logo. Got the throwback logo, current logo, cast of characters, and a TNI TV logos up there. Pick up a shirt. That's the cast of characters shirt that Bill is holding right there. Pick that up, guys. ProWrestlingTees.com/Total Nonstop Impact. And then Twitch.tv/Total Nonstop Impact. Check us out on Twitch, guys. That is our one of our favorite things to do is Twitch. We love all the Twitch supporters. Next week, we have a big push going on. If we get 100 viewers in the watch along, we are going to get a 50 sub gift from Truck and Slowpoke's putting it out there. A lot of our very loyal guys are going to put 50 subs on the gift plate for you guys to take. Free subs. Go get them.
BFG Mania, man.
It's fucking crazy. And then Truck has said the BFG review show, he is going to match bit for bit up to 5,000 cheered bits on the BFG review show.
Jesus, like 50
he's a total lunatic, and I love him. I love all you guys, all the gifting.
Truck rules.
I thank you guys for all the gifting. Adam, Truck, B-Dog, Slowpoke. These guys are always gifting subs out. I am so grateful. I'm just so touched by it. So thank you guys so much for that. But definitely get on Twitch, connect with us, because we're seeing today, Jay, we found out our replay of the watch along gets an asinine amount of plays. So thank you guys for watching it on our platform, because there's many places you can watch it. There's other co-streamers. There's Impact Plus. We appreciate you guys watching it with us. Like, that's mind-blowing to me. So
yeah, it surpassed 750 replays. So thank you for everyone tuning in for that.
It's incredible. I didn't think people are going to rewatch it with us, because you got other places showing it. It's like shit. So thank you guys for watching that along with us, and promote the Twitch, get them people in there. That's a party, and we're going to be doing more and more with Twitch. So guys, thank you very much. Am I missing anything, Bill? I got all the plugs in. Am I missing anything?
Well, we still have the Discord as well. You can hop on there, especially during BFG week. Feel free, jump on in there, give us some feedback. Yeah, that's a lot of different areas within there. There's a throwback area in there as well.
Discord link is in the video and audio description, guys. So get that. Get the Discord. We appreciate it. But that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you very much. TNA number 46 in the books. Number 47 will happen 2 weeks from now. We're gonna skip Bound for Glory week. We'll be back in 2 weeks with number 47. So you have plenty of time to watch.
You can also watch a TNI UK. I think a new one just came out the other day.
TNI UK. That's right. Thanks for a reminder. They did a Victory Road wrap up. Joe and Bison wrapped up Victory Road. Their thoughts on it leading into Bound for Glory. New episodes already in the book. I'm gonna get that out by Monday. That'll be on Monday. So a new one coming up Monday. So guys, show Joe and Bison some love on there as well. They have they're really sticking to this new rebooted Impact that they're doing. So show them some love. Their Twitter links are in the description below too. But guys, that's going to do it for us. Everybody have an awesome weekend. We'll see you Sunday night. Impact Plus. Don't forget, it's Saban and Ben Carter. Huge match on this week's Explosion. Watch that. We'll talk to you guys Sunday night. Have a great weekend, everybody. Good night.
Find me the name of this garbage show again that I'm on.
Total non-stop impact.
My name's John, capital letter E, period, Bravo, and you're listening to the Total Non-Stop Impact Podcast.
This is the jaw-jacking Tuesday Night Impactin'. His mother called him son because he shines like one. Mocha Skin Manimal, Rohit Raju, and you are watching Total Non-Stop Impact.
This is Taya La Güera Loca, and you are listening to Total Non-Stop Impact.
The Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, and you're listening to Total Nonstop Impact.
We are the Rascals, and you are listening to Total
Non-Stop
Impact Podcast, baby.
Woo! And what you're really listening to is Total Non-Stop Impact. Don't you dare miss a lesson. Oh, yeah.